Chapter 2704. The commotion caused by the Blood Willow Gang had alarmed all the powers in First Slaughter City and the cultivators within the Blood Slaughter Arena. When they saw the Blood Willow Gang's master reveal such formidable strength, the experts of the various powers in First Slaughter City and those cultivators were extremely shocked and surprised. The Blood Willow Gang's master actually possesses such extraordinary strength. I'm afraid even ordinary Dao Lords aren't a match for him. If he wanted to dominate First Slaughter City, then the Blood Willow Gang would have probably become the overlord of First Slaughter City a long time ago. That kid is going to suffer great misfortune. A mere Dao True Realm cultivator vainly intends to annihilate the Blood Willow Gang. This kid is too arrogant. In Blood Valley, arrogant people usually die the quickest. Everyone was discussing animatedly, and they felt that Su Fong would definitely die. Even though Su Fong had just killed Fu Tianxiang, Fu Tianxiang couldn't be considered to be a true expert when compared to the Blood Willow Gang's master. At this moment, Su Fong was trapped in the shackles of the Blood Willow Gang's master. So how could he not die? Huff, a figure appeared in the sky above the Blood Willow Gang's territory. Within Star Slaughter City, there was a shackle that prohibited flight in the sky, so it was very difficult for cultivators to fly. Chu Feng had executed the Three Supreme Profound Sect spatial ability and maintained his ability to fly, and it was sufficient to show that his strength was extraordinary, and it drew the attention of everyone. Chu Feng shouted loudly, "Blood Willow Gang's master, I'm Chu Feng, a special disciple of the Three Supreme Profound Sect. I have something to say." Could it be that the Three Supreme Profound Sect intends to stand up for him? The Blood Willow Gang's master spoke in a ghastly tone. The Three Supreme Profound Sect dominates the Eastern Profound Divine region, yet they can't control Blood Valley, let alone First Slaughter City. Chu Feng said, "Gang Master, you've misunderstood. I just want to make a deal with Gang Master. Su Fong has a grudge with my sect. After Gang Master kills that madman, I hope Gang Master can hand over his corpse to me. I'm willing to take out 5,000 mid-grade pills. 5,000 mid-grade medicinal pills in exchange for a corpse. How extravagant of the Three Supreme Profound Sect. Deal." The Blood Willow Gang's master agreed readily. There are almost no cultivation resources in the Blood Valley. 5,000 middle-grade elixirs was not a small sum. You're treating us, the Su Fong, as pigs and sheep waiting to be slaughtered. Unfortunately, it's too early for you to be complacent. In the number 1-star killer city, there's still no one who can stop me. Su Fong revealed a domineering smile. "Luck Spider, I'll leave it to you. Suck their luck dry." Su Fong's eyes showed incomparable coldness, and he released the spider without hesitation. This was also the first time he released the luck spider after subduing it in the swamp. "Thank you, Master." After the spider swallowed a section of the 7-colored blood lotus, it turned into a lifelike spider. Its body was crystal clear, and Su Fong found it hard to associate it with the monster that had once caused the destruction of a powerful foreign race. However, he existed in the faintly discernible fate. Other than Su Fong, it was difficult for others to see his existence. Hiss, hiss. The luck spider spat out strands of spider silk, which instantly penetrated the layers of blood-colored willow leaves and entered the Blood Willow Gang leader's body. The Blood Willow Gang leader was about to suppress Su Fong. Just as he was feeling complacent and rampant, he felt the invisible fate flowing away in an instant. He was immediately terrified. As the fate flowed away, the connection between the Blood Willow Gang leader and the Blood Valley also rapidly weakened. He lost control of the Blood Valley's power, and the willow leaves attacking Su Fong quickly shattered layer by layer. Even the huge Blood Willow, which was the Dharmika of the Blood Willow Gang master, began to fade away. Damn it! What kind of evil skill is this? How can it devour my fate? The Blood Willow Gang leader frantically released his thoughts, trying to shatter the power that was constantly devouring his fate. However, what kind of terrifying existence was the luck spider? Although the luck spider, subdued by Su Fong, was still an underage one, it was not something the Blood Willow Gang leader could get rid of. No matter how he resisted, He could only let his fate be devoured by the luck spider. The experts from the other forces in the first killer city, as well as the experiencers, were all shocked and stunned when they saw this scene. Is the Blood Willow Gang leader suddenly bewitched? Nonsense. Can a Taoist master be bewitched? I think he was injured by Su Feng's peerless magic, and there's something wrong with his spiritual world. Everyone was discussing animatedly, but they were all confused. Chu Feng was also shocked and stunned. He looked at Su Feng, hesitating whether to attack personally. Everyone attack and kill that boy. The Blood Willow Gang leader also knew that the problem was Su Feng, so he immediately issued an order to his subordinates. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Hundreds of Blood Willow Gang cultivators completely fell into madness. They burned their blood evil chi and madly attacked Su Feng. Suppress them all. Su Feng issued a voice full of killing intent to the luck spider. Puff! The luck spider opened its mouth and spat out a white mist. As the white mist rolled and swept, it revealed a strange power of calamity and misfortune. In an instant, the white mist swept in all directions. The Blood Willow Gang cultivators could not see the white mist at all, and they rushed into the white mist. Sizzle! The white mist seeped into the bodies of many Blood Willow Gang cultivators, and the astonishing power of calamity and misfortune quickly devoured their luck. At the same time, the white mist also contained a terrifying power that could cause any life to wither and die of illness, causing those cultivators to be caught off guard. Inexplicably, the vitality of those Blood Willow Gang cultivators began to wither. They spat out mouthfuls of black blood, and their bodies were suffused with the aura of death. In a dozen breaths' time, the hundreds of Blood Willow Gang cultivators who rushed to Su Feng were all lying on the ground. They were not dead yet, and they struggled on the ground in pain, letting out waves of shrill screams. Su Feng, who possessed the moving spider, was a great calamity. Whoever provoked him would bring about a calamity that would destroy their entire family. The Blood Willow Gang cultivators killed your family, so I will destroy the Blood Willow Gang. Watch carefully. Su Feng showed his power to the woman of the Snake Demon Clan in the Heavenly Way Dharma body. Thank you, my lord. The woman of the Snake Demon Clan did not expect that Su Feng would really destroy the Blood Willow Gang. Seeing what happened outside, she was so shocked that she could hardly speak. Evil cultivator. That person must be an evil cultivator. Lu Piaohong, how did you provoke such a terrible enemy? The leader of the Blood Willow Gang caught Lu Piaohong in the air and let out a thunderous roar. Lu Piaohong trembled as she told the leader of the Blood Willow Gang everything that had happened. He wants to destroy the Blood Willow Gang for a lowly woman of the Snake Demon Clan? The leader of the Blood Willow Gang was shocked and stunned. His eyes were filled with disbelief, and his heart was full of grievances. If it weren't for you, how could the Blood Willow Gang provoke such a fiend? He could only watch as the cultivators of Blood Willow Gang died one after another. Blood Willow Gang's leader was also constantly being devoured. He was shocked and angry, and he slapped Lu Piaohong's head, causing it to turn into a bloody mist. Su Feng walked toward the leader of the Blood Willow Gang step by step. When he passed by the cultivators of the Blood Willow Gang, he killed them without hesitation. The leader of the Blood Willow Gang was terrified. He used his body movement to escape. But at this moment, the spider opened its mouth and spat out silk threads that intertwined into a large net, binding the leader of the Blood Willow Gang. In an instant, the leader of the Blood Willow Gang felt that his whole body was shrouded in misfortune and disaster. No matter where he fled, he could not escape the fate of being suppressed. Moreover, he lost his luck and was rejected by the will of the Blood Valley. In an instant, he lost all his magic power, will, and strength. Except for his body that could still move, he lost all his other powers. The leader of the Blood Willow Gang hurriedly knelt and begged for mercy. Spare me. I am willing to submit to Master and become your slave. I will help Master become the overlord of the first star killer city. It's too late. Su Feng said indifferently. The killing star on the blood armor suddenly shot out a fierce, murderous aura that swept toward the leader of the Blood Willow Gang. Kid, where it is possible to let people off, you should spare them. Don't go too far. An expert of the Star Killer City, who was watching from afar, suddenly released a thought that swept away Su Fong's murderous aura. This expert was a middle-aged man. His cultivation was at the same level as the leader of the Blood Willow gang. However, judging from his aura, he was much stronger than the leader of the Blood Willow gang. It's the leader of the number one force of the Star Killer City, the Broken Soul Sect. He actually took action. That kid is too arrogant. If the Broken Soul Sect did not take action, he would really think that there is no one in the Star Killer City. Even a strong dragon can't suppress a local snake. The Blood Valley is not the eastern profound divine domain. How can a foreign cultivator be so arrogant? The experts of the forces of the Star Killer City were all in high spirits. Su Fong sneered. You want to interfere in my business? The Broken Soul Sect Master said majestically. Release the leader of the Blood Willow gang, and I will pretend that nothing happened today. Who do you think you are? Do you think you can stop me? Su Fong? Su Fong sneered domineeringly. His figure flashed and pounced toward the leader of the Blood Willow gang. Impudent. The Broken Soul Sect Master was furious. His thought instantly turned into a big hand that grabbed at Su Fong. Who would have thought that Su Fong would use the passage of time divine ability? And there was a split second between him and the Broken Soul Sect Master. It was also in this split second that Su Fong used a seal to shackle the leader of the Blood Willow gang, and then sucked him into the space within his body. You are courting death. The Broken Soul Sect Master was furious. His glabella flashed and shot out a xianguang. It instantly erupted, and the surrounding space immediately turned into a boundless sword domain. Chi Chi Chi. The astonishing sword intent not only contained supreme sword Dao rhymes, but also the power to tear the soul and destroy the Dao heart. Boom! Su Fong immediately switched between the Xian Huang Dharma body and the Blood Fiend Dharma body. His figure turned into the phantom of a 6-story pagoda. Streaks of sword chi, will, and Dao rhymes hit the Xian Huang Dharma body, causing the phantom of the pagoda to shake violently and begin to shatter layer by layer. At this time, the spider suddenly spat out a strand of spider silk. The Broken Soul Sect Master felt a mysterious power seeping into his body. Then, his luck began to flow away frantically. What kind of evil divine ability is this? It can actually devour my supreme luck. Damn it, damn it. If the leader of the Blood Willow gang dies, then he dies. It has nothing to do with me. Why should I stand up for him? Chapter 2705. Who else wants to stand up for the Blood Willow gang master? Su Fong's cold eyes swept in all directions. Wherever he went, the experts from the major forces in Star Killer City, as well as the trainees, were all trembling. Even the Broken Soul Sect Master was so scared that he fled, and he didn't even know what kind of means Su Fong had used. Now that he stood up for the Blood Willow gang master, wasn't he courting death? Su Fong looked at Chu Fong and sneered. Young Master Chu Fong, didn't you plan to exchange 5,000 mid-grade pills for my corpse? Why don't you come up? Humph. This is the number 1 Star Killer City. I'll let you be arrogant for a few days. When you come to the number 3 Star Killer City and meet Ling Xingchen, I'll see how arrogant you can be. Chu Feng's face was gloomy. His figure flashed, and he flew over the Blood Willow gang. At this time, hundreds of Blood Willow gang members had their luck corroded by the power of disaster and misfortune that the spider sprayed out. Disease and death chi entered their bodies, and most of them had died. Su Fong sat cross-legged on the empty field in the middle of the courtyard. He reached out and grabbed the corpses one by one, and used his Blood Demon Dharma body to crazily devour the Blood Demon aura in their bodies. These people had stayed in Star Killer City all year round, and their Blood Demon Dharma body had accumulated an astonishing amount of Blood Demon aura. At this moment, they had all become cultivation materials for Su Fong to improve his Blood Demon Dharma body. In addition, Su Fong also gained a lot from these cultivators. Su Fong had collected more than 1,000 Blood Demon stones, which was definitely a huge sum in the Blood Valley. In addition, Su Fong found a large number of rare spiritual items in the storage ring of the Blood Willow Gang Master, among which was a spiritual item called the Tears of Ice Silkworm, which was exactly what was needed to cultivate the pregnant heavenly Tao core. This time, Su Fong also made a fortune by destroying the Blood Willow Gang. No wonder the Broken Soul Sect Master stood up for the Blood Willow Gang. He must have come for the Blood Willow Gang's wealth. After all, it was a major force in the number 1-star killer city. After so many years of accumulation, it must be rich. In the end, it all benefited Su Fong. As the evil blood chi in the corpses was devoured, Su Fong's evil blood Dharmakaya improved at an astonishing speed. The blood armor on his body seemed to be made of material. Mysterious blood inscriptions began to condense on it. The area covered by the blood armor was no longer the key parts of the blood evil avatar, but spread to other parts of the avatar. The star of slaughter on his chest had also completely condensed. This meant that Su Fong now had the height of a 1-star divine general of bloody slaughter. While Su Fong was absorbing the baleful blood chi to cultivate, the news of him massacring the Blood Willow Gang and forcing the Broken Soul Sect Master to retreat quickly spread throughout 1-star Killer City, shocking the entire city. The forces entrenched in 1-star Killer City had strictly ordered all the cultivators in their forces not to provoke the Su Fong. As long as the Su Fong was in Star Killer City, everyone had to behave themselves. According to the leaders of those forces, Su Fong was a completely unreasonable madman. He had actually wiped out the entire Blood Willow Gang for a lowly, demonic snake woman. If they really provoked him, wouldn't it be terrible? The cultivators from the major forces and mystic worlds of the Eastern Profound Divine Realm had also secretly decided that even if they had to challenge Su Fong, they would absolutely not challenge Su Fong. Su Fong was a star of calamity, a star of slaughter. One after another, the mortals of Star Killer City, including the foreign races, came to the former territory of the Blood Willow Gang and kowtowed to Su Fong from afar. In the past, these mortals and foreign races born in Star Killer City couldn't be considered as humans at all. They were wantonly bullied and killed by the cultivators. Even they themselves didn't see themselves as humans. They thought that they were born to be oppressed by the cultivators. Su Fong had actually wiped out the Blood Willow Gang for a demonic snake woman. Those Blood Willow Gang cultivators who were usually high and mighty were slaughtered by him like chickens. Only then did the mortals and foreign races realize that they were also humans and had the right to live. Their hearts were filled with endless gratitude to Su Fong as they came to kowtow. About 500 years. In these 500 years, 1-star Killer City had never been so peaceful. This city that was filled with slaughter was actually more peaceful than some of the cities in the mystic worlds. It was truly incomparably strange. Some of the cultivators who came to Star Killer City later thought that they had come to the wrong place. Su Fong massacred the Blood Willow Gang. The deterrent force was actually so terrifying. On this day, a bloody light soared into the sky and landed on the blood-colored star above the city, causing it to tremble. Immediately after, Su Fong's voice that was filled with killing and pleasure resounded throughout the city. Everyone in Star Killer City couldn't help but tremble. Su Fong slowly stood up from the ground and sensed his own body. He was very happy in his heart. After devouring the blood chi of hundreds of cultivators, especially the Blood Willow Gang's leader, the Blood Fiend Dharma body contained an incomparably vast amount of Blood Fiend chi. Coupled with the Blood Fiend stones, Su Fong's Blood Fiend Dharma body had finally risen to a new height after 500 years of absorption and fusion. His entire body was covered in blood armor, and even blood runes appeared on his face. He looked like the incarnation of a god of slaughter. The star killer pattern on his chest had already become complete. Although it didn't look very bright, it actually contained an incomparably majestic, killing aura. I now have the strength of a 1-star divine general of slaughter. It's time to leave 1-star Killer City. He had no choice but to leave. Although he hadn't won 10 battles, he had already advanced from a half-step divine general of slaughter to a 1-star divine general through killing cultivators and obtaining their blood fiend chi. The star above Star Killer City was repelling him, indicating that he had to leave First Star Killer City and enter Second Star Killer City. Demonic Snake. Su Fang's thought appeared inside the heavenly Tao avatar. My lord. When the demonic snake woman saw Su Fang's image, she respectfully knelt and kowtowed. After all these years, the woman had already recovered. Because this woman was born in the Blood Valley, she was born with a blood fiend chi. Therefore, she was very close to law and was taken in as a servant. He even taught her the Azura divine clan's cultivation method and divine ability to cultivate blood fiend chi. At this time, the demonic snake woman was no longer immortal. She was a cultivator with some cultivation. Su Fang nodded and asked, I'm about to leave First Star Killer City. Where should you go? Law came through the array. Although this woman is of a foreign race, she's naturally suited to cultivate the Tao of slaughter. Leave her to me. When I transcend the Pongsong universe, I'll definitely train her into an Azura successor. But Su Fang smiled bitterly. Once a life form born in the Blood Valley left the Blood Valley and went to the outside world, an invisible force would rapidly devour their life. They would die very quickly. There had never been a precedent before. It must be the same for the demonic snake woman. Law snorted and said, What's wrong? Now that you've become stronger, you can't even use my face? Of course, of course. Su Fang wiped his sweat and hurriedly agreed. If he wanted to take this woman out of the Blood Valley, he would have to use the Heaven's secret life shrinking technique to cut off the karma between her and the Blood Valley. However, in this way, Su Fang would have to consume a lot of his life force. There was no other way. After all, Law had spoken. The demonic snake woman was surprised and happy. She kept kowtowing to Su Fang. Withdrawing his consciousness, Su Fang went straight to the blood slaughter platform. That Bane has finally left the Blood Willow gang. With his strength, who can defeat him in the blood slaughter platform? That's for the best. As long as this Bane leaves First Star Killer City, we can finally breathe a sigh of relief. The major forces were scrambling to spread the news. Before Su Fang left, some forces began to celebrate. He went through the barrier and entered the blood slaughter platform. Just like before, thousands of cultivators gathered below the blood slaughter platform, but there were many new faces. Su Fang swept through the crowd with his divine light, but he couldn't find Chu Feng's figure. It seemed that he should have won 10 rounds and left First Star Killer City. Chu Feng had no choice. If he didn't leave, when Su Fang challenged him on the blood slaughter platform, he would undoubtedly die if he accepted the challenge. But if he didn't accept the challenge, he would lose face. It was better to leave as soon as possible. On the blood slaughter platform, a cultivator had just killed his opponent and went around. After receiving the purification of blood and evil chi, he shouted arrogantly to the audience below the platform, Who dares to challenge me? For a moment, the blood slaughter platform was silent. The cultivator became more and more arrogant. I've already won 8 rounds. Who's kind enough to send me another round? Ha ha. Suddenly, a calm voice came from below the platform. Can you come down first? Boy, get up here if you have the guts. The big man looked in the direction of the voice and found that the person who spoke was a Tao True Realm cultivator. After being stunned for a moment, he suddenly laughed wildly. Whoosh! Su Fang jumped onto the blood slaughter platform. Boy, since you sent me around, I'll leave your corpse intact. Ah! The cultivator sneered domineeringly at first, but when he saw Su Fang's face, he suddenly felt as if an invisible hand was choking his neck. The arrogant expression on his face disappeared and was replaced by awe and fear. His body trembled uncontrollably. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. Sir, don't take it seriously. The cultivator's legs went soft. He stumbled down the platform and fell to the ground, looking incomparably miserable. A Tao True Realm cultivator? There's actually a Tao True Realm cultivator in Star Killer City? Now, there's finally a soft persimmon to pinch. A cultivator who had just entered First Star Killer City saw Su Fang's cultivation clearly and was immediately surprised and happy. He went straight to the blood slaughter platform. However, when he arrived below the platform, he found that the surrounding people were looking at him strangely. Only then did he realize that something was wrong and stopped abruptly. What happened? The newly arrived cultivator was confused. A middle-aged cultivator next to him sneered and said, "Idiot, the person on the platform is called Su Fong. If you want to die, hurry up and get on the platform." Su Fong? Who's Su Fong? The cultivator still did not understand, but he dispelled the idea of going on the platform to challenge him. At this time, Chapter 2706. Su Fong was enveloped by the spatial distortion and was involuntarily teleported out of First Star Killer City. When everything returned to normal, Su Fong looked around and found himself in a plaza inside the city. Just like the First Star Killer City, a blood-red star was suspended in the sky above the Second Star Killer City. However, it was larger than the First Star Killer City, and the murderous aura it exuded was much stronger. There were many neat and exquisite pavilions in the city, which was completely different from First Star Killer City's chaotic scene. At this time, a woman's voice came from behind. "Welcome to Second Star Killer City, my lord." Su Fong turned around and saw a woman in green standing behind him. Her appearance was ordinary, but her cultivation was not low. She had reached the middle stage of the Dao Monarch realm. Su Fong asked in surprise, "Who are you?" The woman in green was surprised when she discovered Su Fong's cultivation. Then, she saw Su Fong's blood-red armor and the image of the killer star, and shock appeared in her eyes. Hearing Su Fong's question, the woman hurriedly answered, "My name is Qing Xian. I specialize in serving cultivators who enter Second Star Killer City to train." A middle-stage Dao Monarch realm cultivator serving cultivators? Su Fong revealed a look of disbelief. Although a middle-stage Dao Monarch realm cultivator was not considered a powerhouse in the Eastern Profound Divine Realm, they were definitely experts. It was unbelievable that she would serve other cultivators in Second Star Killer City. Qing Xian smiled casually and explained, "In Second Star Killer City, many cultivators have their blood fiend avatar killed in the process of training. However, they do not want to leave Blood Valley, so they stay in Second Star Killer City and use various methods to obtain Blood Fiend Stones. Once they have accumulated enough Blood Fiend Stones, they could buy a new Blood Fiend avatar from the City Lord's Mansion." City Lord's Mansion? There was a City Lord's Mansion in Second Star Killer City? The information Su Fong had bought about Blood Valley from the Chamber of Commerce did not mention this. What made Su Fong even more surprised was that the Blood Fiend avatar could be bought. It had to be known that once a cultivator's Blood Fiend avatar was killed, they could not cultivate it again. It was hard to believe that one could purchase a new Blood Fiend Dharma body in the Second Killer City. Seeing Su Fong's expression, Qing Xian seemed to have expected it. She smiled embarrassedly. "If you want to hire me, I can explain it to you in detail. How many pills do I need to hire you?" In the Second Star Killer City, only Blood Evil Stones are valuable. Although medicinal pills can also be used to trade, they can't compare to Blood Evil Stones. Cultivators like us usually only accept Blood Evil Stones. My price isn't high. I'll only accept 100 Blood Evil Stones for 10,000 years of service. All right, I'll give you 100 Blood Evil Stones. 100 Blood Evil Stones was not a small number. However, with someone who was familiar with Second Star Killer City, it would save them a lot of trouble. Therefore, Su Fong didn't hesitate to hire Qing Xian. "For the next 10,000 years, you will be my employer. May I know your name?" Qing Xian revealed a joyful expression. Su Fong answered honestly, "Su Fong." "So it's young Master Su Fong." Qing Xian nodded, and then told Su Fong a few things about Second Star Killer City. It was different from First Star Killer City. A long time ago, Second Star Killer City had been controlled by a mysterious power and became the only power in Second Star Killer City. Cultivators who entered Second Star Killer City had to pay a certain amount of rent and live in the pavilions and immortal caves controlled by the City Lord's Mansion. Otherwise, they could only sleep outside the city. The City Lord's Mansion would not only not charge rent for some disciples from large powers, but they would also give them special treatment. Su Fong was startled. That power's background must be quite big, right? Controlling Second Star Killer City would not only allow one to amass a shocking amount of wealth, but they would also be able to befriend peerless geniuses from various powers. If they didn't have a powerful backer, how would they be able to do that? Qing Xian replied, "Of course. Some people speculate that the power controlling Second Starkiller City might come from Heaven Pavilion. Su Fong then asked, cultivators can't stay in Blood Valley for too long. Could it be that the City Lord's mansion's people rotate every once in a while? Exactly. Qing Xian continued to explain. Not only were the powerhouses of the City Lord's mansion rotated regularly, but the City Lord's mansion would also recruit powerhouses from those cultivators who failed in their training. Other than maintaining order in Second Starkiller City and trading with the cultivators, the City Lord's mansion did not interfere with the cultivators' training. Moreover, the City Lord's mansion had a forbidden technique that could help cultivators reconstruct their blood fiend Dharma body. Of course, they had to pay a sufficient price. The City Lord's mansion's Chamber of Commerce could also provide cultivators with various cultivation resources, but the price was several times more expensive than in the mystic world. The Chamber of Commerce also sold a kind of elixir called Blood Fiend Pill. It was an excellent elixir for cultivators to refine their blood fiend Dharma body. All cultivators scrambled for it. Therefore, not only was the City Lord's mansion not disliked by the cultivators, but it was also very popular. Su Fong thought to himself, it seems that the City Lord's mansion is not simple. However, this has nothing to do with me. I'd better hurry up and pass Second Starkiller City's training and enter Third Starkiller City. Then he asked Qing Xian about the price of renting a pavilion and cave abode. The price was astonishing. For example, the most ordinary pavilion would cost 1,000 blood fiend stones to rent for 10,000 years. As for cave abodes, the highest price would be over 10,000. Su Fong couldn't help but click his tongue when he heard the price. The City Lord's mansion was simply robbing him. Moreover, it was robbing him openly. He barely had 1,000 blood fiend stones on him, which was only enough to rent a pavilion for 10,000 years. He learned from Qing Xian that there were many ways to obtain blood fiend stones. One could go to the mines outside the city to find them or kill blood monsters. People like Qing Xian could also earn blood fiend stones by providing services to other cultivators. Of course, one could also sell Xian Bao, elixirs, and other resources to exchange for blood fiend stones. However, the price of these resources was very low by the Chamber of Commerce. If one wanted to buy them, they would have to pay several times the price. The easiest way to obtain blood fiend stones was to win a battle on the blood slaughter stage and directly snatch them from the hands of the opponent. Of course, if the opponent was a pauper like Su Fong, they would naturally obtain nothing. Young Master Su Fong, I'll take you to rent a pavilion. Then, I'll explain some of the rules of the blood slaughter stage to you in detail. Qing Xian led Su Fong out of the square and into the city streets. They walked along the street and arrived at an empty pavilion. Qing Xian took out a token and released a Xian Guang that landed on the plaque above the pavilion's door. Whoosh! A thought descended and turned into the phantom of an old man. He looked at Su Fong indifferently. How long do you plan to rent it for? 10,000 years. Here is 1,000 blood fiend stones. Su Fong took out a storage ring from his palm. There were 1,000 blood fiend stones stored inside. Now, he was a pauper again. The illusory image of the old man took out a blood-colored token and struck a handprint into it. He tossed the token to Su Fong, and then the phantom of the old man turned into a Xian Guang and disappeared without a trace. Su Fong used the token to open the pavilion's door and led Qing Xian inside. Qing Xian recorded the rules of the blood slaughter stage into a jade slip. Young Master Su Fong, take a careful look at the rules. If you need anything, just call me with the rune talisman. I guarantee I will be there at any time. After Qing Xian left, Su Fong sealed the pavilion's door with a barrier and then carefully read the jade slip. Qing Xian left Su Fong's pavilion and returned to the street. She suddenly took out a rune talisman. That newcomer is only at the true Dao realm. I can't figure out his specific strength for the time being. A voice came from the rune talisman. A true Dao realm cultivator can enter Second Star Slaughter City? Are you sure? Qing Xian respectfully said, I'm absolutely sure. That's strange. Qing Xian, the information you revealed this time is very good. I reckon you'll be able to sell a lot of blood evil stones. I don't care how many blood evil stones I can sell. I just want to get the 10 blood evil stones that belong to me. Of course, you will get your share. Continue to keep an eye on that cultivator and find out his background as soon as possible. As long as the information is useful, you will get your share of blood evil stones. Yes, the rules of the second star Slaughter City's blood slaughter stage are so cruel. After reading the information in the Jade Slip, Su Fong frowned. It turned out that the rules of the second star Slaughter City's blood slaughter stage were completely different from the first star Slaughter City's. The rules were actually very simple. If one wanted to pass the trial of the second star Slaughter City, they had to go through 100 battles, and their chances of winning had to be over 50%. The competition on the blood slaughter stage was not a spar. Deaths were common occurrences. It wasn't easy to guarantee that one wouldn't die after 100 battles. According to the rules, there had to be a battle every 10,000 years. Otherwise, one would be directly sent out of Star Slaughter City. There was also a very special rule. If one could guarantee 100 victories, not only would they obtain a blood slaughter token condensed by the Blood Valley's will, but they would also trigger the Jiuquan's Heavenly Law and be directly listed on the Heavenly Profound list. The Jiuquan's Heavenly Law was jointly formulated by the supreme powerhouses of the Jiuquan's God Realm. It was not just a verbal agreement, but a heavenly law. Any cultivator in the Jiuquan's God Realm had to abide by it. Unexpectedly, even the Blood Valley had to abide by the Jiuquan's Heavenly Law. Having a blood slaughter token was equivalent to having a part of the ability to control the Blood Valley's will. And being listed on the Heavenly Profound list would allow one to enjoy some special rights of the Jiuquan's Heavenly Law. It's not easy to not be killed by your opponent in 100 battles. It's almost impossible to win all 100 battles. Su Fong shook his head and smiled bitterly. That rule was almost useless to him. First, I have to find a way to get the Blood Evil Stone. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to survive in the second Star Slaughter City, let alone improve my strength and smoothly pass the trial. Su Fong calmed down and began to think about how to get the Blood Evil Stone. While he was thinking, buzz, the void trembled, and a blood-red piece of paper emerged from the void. What's this? Su Fong grabbed the blood-red piece of paper in his hand. Chi! The piece of paper quickly burned and turned into a blood-red figure. It was a young cultivator. He looked at Su Fong and said coldly, I, Qi Ming, challenge you. If you have the guts, accept my challenge. After saying that, the blood-red figure shattered and disappeared without a trace. It turned out to be a letter of challenge. Chi, Chi, Chi. One after another, more than a dozen letters of challenge appeared from the void and turned into blood-red figures. He had just arrived at the second Star Slaughter City and had not even warmed his seat, but more than a dozen cultivators had come to challenge him. No matter where I go, newcomers are treated as soft persimmons. Chapter 2707. Don't be in a hurry to challenge them. Let's figure out the situation in Second Slaughter City first. We still have 10,000 years anyway. Although Su Fong was very confident in his strength, he would never accept a challenge as soon as he arrived. After some thought, Su Fong took out a rune talisman and said, Qing Xian, I have something to ask you. A thought flashed from the rune talisman and turned into a lifelike shadow of Qing Xian. Young Master Su Fong, you are my employer. If you have any questions, I will answer them without reserve. Su Fong asked coldly. As soon as I arrived at the second Star Killer City, I immediately received challenges from more than a dozen experts. Do you know who leaked the news about me? Su Fong's cultivation years were not long, but he had experienced countless storms and waves. How could he not see the trick? Qing Xian smiled lightly. Young Master Su Fong is indeed not an ordinary person. You can see it with a single glance. If so, I can't admit it. You took my blood evil stone and sold me out. Don't you want to give me an explanation? This is my fault. I will definitely compensate young Master Su Fong. Seeing that Qing Xian did not shirk her responsibility, Su Fong did not pursue the matter. After all, he still needed to find out more information from Qing Xian. Besides, it was not a big deal to leak his information. Su Fong questioned Qing Xian, not because he really wanted to pursue the matter, but because he wanted to gain the upper hand first so that Qing Xian would work harder. At the same time, it was also a warning. QL11 Qing Xian continued. If young Master Su Fong doesn't want to accept the challenge, you can just ignore the challengers. Besides, I suggest that young Master Su Fong disguise his identity and appearance when you enter the slaughter arena in the future. Why? Secondly, the cultivators in Assassin City come from various forces of Dongxian. If they accidentally kill a disciple of a super force on the Sanguine Massacre arena, they will suffer revenge before they even leave the Blood Valley. Therefore, most of the cultivators on the Sanguine Massacre arena hide their identities and disguise their appearances. I see. I understand. Su Fong nodded. Then he asked, let me ask you again. Is it possible to directly advance to a 2-star Divine Slaughter General by consuming blood evil stones, blood evil pills, or other methods in 2nd Star Killer City? Could it be that young Master Su Fong advanced from the number 1 Killer City by absorbing the blood evil stones, evil blood aura? Qing Xian's phantom revealed a look of sudden realization. Su Fong said indifferently, if I ask you a question, just answer it directly. Qing Xian smiled and said, young Master Su Fong is indeed intelligent. You are so young, but you are watertight. Qing Xian admires you. In the 2nd Star Slaughter City, one had to go through 100 battles on the Blood Slaughter platform to become a 2-star Divine Slaughter General. There was no other way. No matter how many blood evil stones and blood evil pills you devour, it can only increase the strength of the blood evil Dharma body and add a few more slash marks to the killing star pattern on the blood armor. Slayer's Mark? What is that? Qing Xian continued to explain. Victory on the Blood Slaughter platform didn't just allow one to cleanse one's marrow with blood evil chi, it would even condense marks on the blood armor and the killing star pattern on the blood armor. Those are the slaughter marks. They were both 1-star Divine Slaughter Generals. The more slash marks on the blood armor, the more powerful the Blood Fiend avatar would be. Normally speaking, so long as one condensed 9 slash marks, one would be able to advance to a 2-star Divine Slaughter General. Even though devouring the blood evil stones and blood evil pills could still condense slash marks, it was unable to allow a cultivator to condense a 2nd killing star and advance to a 2-star Divine Slaughter General. However, the more slash marks one possessed, the stronger the blood evil Dharma body would be. At the same time, the slash marks could display the blood evil Dharma body's potential. Qing Xian said that in the history of 2nd Star Killer City, someone had once cultivated 72 slash marks, but the blood evil Dharma body possessed the terrifying strength to kill Dao Lords. It was precisely that person who hadn't lost a single battle on the Blood Slaughter platform. Not only had he obtained a Blood Slaughter token, but he'd even ascended the Dark Sky rankings. Su Fong was very disappointed when he heard Qing Xian's explanation. He'd intended to rely on the blood evil stones to advance to a 2-star Divine Slaughter General. Of course, it was even easier to kill the blood evil clones and devour their blood evil chi. But now it seemed like he could only fight 100 battles steadily, and there were no shortcuts. Su Fong didn't intend to continue using the Blood Slaughter Spider's ability on the 2nd Star Killer City's Blood Slaughter platform. Firstly, it would lose the meaning of tempering himself. Moreover, Su Fong was worried that if he frequently used the Blood Slaughter Spider's ability, someone would notice it sooner or later. At that time, it would bring him a heinous crime. Which power didn't want to obtain a Blood Slaughter Spider? Once the Blood Slaughter Spider was exposed, who knew what kind of trouble it would bring to Su Fong? Su Fong guessed that even Shi Xian's Daozu might not be able to protect him. Even 6 Extreme Dao, Saint's avatar, couldn't release his power or thoughts. I can only rely on my own strength, mainly the Blood Evil avatar. My Blood Evil avatar is already extraordinary and surpasses other cultivators. Coupled with my other abilities, it'll be difficult for anyone to stop my rise in the 2nd Star Killer City. Su Fong's heart surged with fighting spirit. Then, Qing Xian told Su Fong some information about the Blood Slaughter platform. Qing Xian had betrayed Su Fong and was seen through by Su Fong, so she felt guilty. In order to make it up to Su Fong, Qing Xian told him some things that weren't in the information she gave Su Fong before. Young Master Su Fong, I suggest that you cultivate the blood slaughter star on your blood armor to the level of 3 slaughter marks before accepting the challenge. Why? Once the blood evil avatar is cultivated to the level of a 1-star divine general, the strength it can display in the Blood Valley will far surpass other avatars. Therefore, the battle on the blood slaughter platform will mainly depend on the strength of the blood evil avatar. Young Master hasn't even condensed 1 slaughter mark yet. When you enter the blood slaughter platform, you'll be suppressed by your opponent and won't have the strength to fight back. I understand. It seemed that he had to improve his blood evil avatar first. He pondered for a moment. Su Fong then asked Qing Xian, "Second, are there any other trading places in Starkiller City besides the Chamber of Commerce?" "Of course there are," Qing Xian replied with certainty. The Chamber of Commerce controlled by the City Lord's mansion exploited cultivators too much, so some cultivators from different forces formed an underground black market. Second, many transactions in Starkiller City are done in the black market. Black market? Doesn't the City Lord's mansion stop it? Second, the black market in Starkiller City is established by the disciples of the 3 highest profound sects and the Great Sun Limitless sect, 2 super forces second only to the Eastern Profound Heavenly Pavilion. Moreover, there are constantly powerhouses entering the Blood Valley and taking turns to guard the black market. No matter how great the City Lord's mansion's background is, they can only turn a blind eye to these 2 forces. I see. Su Fong was naturally familiar with the 3 highest profound sects, but he wasn't too clear about the Great Sun Limitless sect. He had only heard of them before. The Great Sun Limitless sect was a powerful force that had risen from Dongxian in the last 10 epochs. Although its foundation wasn't as strong as the 3 highest profound sects, the force had as many powerhouses as there were clouds. Its overall strength wasn't any weaker than the 3 highest profound sects. Su Fong said decisively, "Take me to the black market." He was practically broke now and could only take out some Xian Bao and resources that he didn't need to exchange for some blood evil stones to improve his blood evil avatar's strength as soon as possible. "You're my employer. Tell me where you want to go, and I'll naturally accompany you." The figure formed by Qing Xian's thought smiled, and then turned into a Xian Guang and disappeared into nothingness. Su Fong walked out of the pavilion and waited at the door for a while before Qing Xian came over. She then led Su Fong through the pavilions and finally came to a pavilion that didn't look any different from the others. Qing Xian struck out a hand seal and landed on the door of the pavilion. Whoosh! A thought passed through the barrier of the door and appeared in front of Qing Xian, turning into the figure of an old man. "Qing Xian, you brought people again? I hope you can bring experts this time. Don't be like the previous few times." The old man's figure spoke indifferently and then looked at Su Fong. Realizing that Su Fong's cultivation base was only at the Daojian upper realm, the old man's expression immediately turned ugly. He said coldly, "Qing Xian, you dare to bring such a small fry to the black market?" Qing Xian cupped her fists and said, "Although this young master's cultivation base isn't high, he's naturally extraordinary to be able to become a 1-star divine general of bloody slaughter. Sir, please make things convenient. Don't cause trouble when you enter, or you won't even know how you died." The old man's figure snorted coldly and then disappeared. The barrier outside the pavilion's door opened up a passage, and Qing Xian led Su Fong through the formation and entered. With a leap, Su Fong directly entered a world from outside the pavilion. This world covered an area of thousands of acres, but there weren't any shops inside. In the empty space, there were many cultivators setting up stalls, selling all kinds of treasures. There were also cultivators who directly traded with each other, appearing very relaxed. This space is the interior of a Xian Guang of the 3 Supremes' mysterious sects. It's specially used for black market transactions. Usually, there are experts from the 3 Supremes' mysterious sects and the Boundless Sun sect guarding it. Although this black market isn't big and there aren't many people, there's almost everything in this black market. There are also many treasures that can't be seen in the outside world. It's mainly the disciples from the 8 forces of Dongxian who are willing to sell all kinds of treasures in order to obtain blood evil ores. Young master, please don't get into a conflict with others. Although this black market is safer than the interior of #1 Killer City, it's still in the Blood Valley after all. The slightest carelessness will cause you to lose your life in the black market. Qing Xian warned Su Fong in detail, solemnly before leading Su Fong to the stalls. In front of a cultivator's stall, Su Fong saw some black and red pills shrouded in a xianguang. He asked Qing Xian, "Is that the blood evil pill?" Qing Xian responded with her primordial spirit, "Yes, that is a blood demon pill. However, the blood demon pills sold in the black market are refined by those who are good at refining pills. The quality is far inferior to the blood demon pills of the Chamber of Commerce. There are even some inferior blood demon pills that can kill people." She then continued, "It's not just the blood evil pill. The pill recipes and materials for refining the blood evil pill can be bought in the black market. Those cultivators who have mastered the art of refining pills are the most popular in #2 Killer City. They almost don't have to worry about blood evil ores. They can even exchange them for many treasures that are hard to find in the outside world through refining pills." Refining pills? Chapter 2708. Why couldn't he refine pills himself? Su Fong was an expert in alchemy when he was in the Pansong universe. Now, he was in the Jiuquan realm of the gods. Although the alchemy in the Jiuquan realm of the gods was different from that in the Pansong universe, the essence of cultivation remained the same. Alchemy could also be done in the Jiuquan realm of the gods. And Su Fong had an advantage that other cultivators didn't have. Concocting pills required mastery over flames and cauldrons, as well as wood elemental abilities. Additionally, it required comprehension of cultivation. Su Fong had mastered the extreme Dao Black Yang technique and the ability to control extreme Yang flames. He also had the purple Fate Dharma body and could easily control cauldrons. Cultivating the black-yellow Dharma body gave him wood abilities. As for comprehension of the essence of cultivation, Su Fong cultivated the Jiuquan limitless scripture. Although he was only in the true Dao realm, his cultivation realm surpassed that of a Dao lord. With so many advantages, if he didn't use them for alchemy, it would be a waste of his talent. As long as he could refine the blood evil pill, he could exchange it for a large amount of blood evil stones. Why would he need to worry about blood evil stones in the 2nd-star Killer City? With enough blood evil stones, not only could he cultivate the blood evil Dharma body, but he could also buy spiritual items that were difficult to buy in the outside world. He might even be able to gather the spiritual items needed to nurture the heavenly Dao core. Thinking of this, Su Fong's heart burned. "Excuse me, do you have the recipe for the blood evil pill for sale?" Su Fong asked the stall owner. Qing Xian was surprised. Was he hot-headed and planning to refine the blood evil pill? The stall owner was an old man with a goatee. His eyes flashed as he sized up Su Fong. He said indifferently, "I have the recipe, cauldron, and materials. Unfortunately, you can't afford it." Su Fong said, "Whether I can afford it or not, there has to be a price, right? The lowest quality pill recipe costs 10,000 blood evil stones. Can you take out so many blood evil stones?" The old man with the goatee sneered. 10,000 blood evil stones? Su Fong raised his eyebrows. He only had a few dozen blood evil stones left. Su Fong continued to ask, "Other than the blood evil stone, can you use other treasures to exchange for it?" The goateed elder said, "Of course, but that depends on what kind of treasure it is. Xianbao's quality is at least high grade. If it's medicinal pills, don't even think about it if you don't have 10,000 peak high-grade medicinal pills." "Evil, this is too evil." Su Fong thought for a moment, then nodded and said, "Take out the pill recipe for me to see. If you have a pill cauldron, take it out as well." The goateed elder sized up Su Fong once more and said with some doubt, "The pill recipes and pill cauldrons aren't in the stall. If you really want them, I can take you there. But let me say the ugly words first. If you can't take out that many pills, or Xian Bao, and deliberately come to make fun of this old man, don't blame this old man for being impolite." Qing Xian hurriedly sent a sound transmission to Su Fong. "Young Master Su Fong, do you really have so many pills, or Xianbao?" Su Fong replied, "Don't worry, I know what I'm doing." The goateed elder waved his hand and sucked all the items in the stall into his body. Then, he took Su Fong to the depths of the black market. They arrived at a stall. "Our mystic sect has a trading space in this underground trading ground. Follow me." The goateed elder made a hand seal, and a Xian Guang fell on a screen in the stall. A spatial warping divine power gushed out from the screen, enveloping the goateed elder and Su Fong, and then sucked them into the space inside the screen, leaving Qingxin outside. Inside the screen, there was indeed an independent array space. It was like a shop, and treasures were wrapped in Xianguang, floating in the room. The types of treasures were very complicated. In addition to pills and Xianbao, there were also many rune talismans, array flags, array discs, and so on. It seemed that the mystic sect specialized in these things. There was a scholarly middle-aged cultivator in the room. He was holding a compass and looking at it attentively. Sensing the goateed elder and Su Fong coming in, he asked without raising his head, "What do you want to buy?" Su Fong said, "The pill formula for refining the blood demon pill, pill cauldron, and pill refining materials." The scholarly middle-aged cultivator put down the compass and looked at Su Fong. "What kind of pill formula and pill cauldron do you need?" Su Fong asked in confusion. "Pill formulas are also divided into different grades. You don't even know this, and you want to refine the blood demon pill?" The scholarly middle-aged cultivator snorted. The goateed elder explained to Su Fong, "In the Blood Valley, blood demon pill formulas are also divided into different grades. Ordinary low-grade blood demon pill formulas can at most refine a 3-pattern blood demon pill. If one's alchemy skills aren't high enough, most of the pills refined will be useless or even poisonous. Mid-grade pill formulas can at most refine 6-pattern pills, and high-grade pill formulas can at most refine 9-pattern blood demon pills. So that's how it is." Su Fong finally understood. After thinking for a while, he said, "Then let's start with the lowest. A low-grade pill formula, a low-grade pill cauldron, and 100 sets of ingredients for refining low-grade blood demon pills." The scholarly middle-aged cultivator chuckled. "It seems you're a beginner in alchemy. Haha, it's not easy to refine blood demon pills. Ordinary alchemists would find it difficult to refine blood demon pills. In the past, there were many cultivators like you who thought they could earn blood demon stones quickly by refining pills, but the result was that they lost a lot of blood demon stones. What they refined were all useless or poisonous pills. There were even some people who couldn't control their pill cauldrons during alchemy, causing their pill cauldrons to explode and even losing their lives." Su Fong casually said, "How many blood demon stones do you need? Give me a price." The middle-aged cultivator saw Su Fong's stubborn appearance and seemed to have long been accustomed to it. He shook his head and didn't say anything else, directly quoting, "Pill formulas, pill cauldrons, and the alchemy materials you want a total of 37,000 blood demon stones." Although Su Fong had expected this, he was still startled so much. The goateed elder gloomily said, "Don't tell me you can't take out the money and are wasting this old man's time. I've just arrived at Star Slaughter City, so I naturally can't take out so many blood demon stones at once. However, I have a treasure to exchange." Su Fong stretched out his hand and grabbed a Xianguang. Sealed inside the Xianguang was a black thing that looked like a lump of black mud. The goateed elder's white eyebrows furrowed. "What is this? Can it be considered a treasure?" "Eh." The refined middle-aged cultivator exclaimed with shock as he grabbed the black mud in his hand, and then he sensed it before his eyes flashed with a bright light. "It's actually Origin Divinity Clay. This is a good treasure that's capable of being comparable to a high-grade dark treasure." It turned out that what Su Fong took out was the Origin Deity Clay he obtained from Gloomwater Abyss. After reconstructing Gloomwater's divine body, there was only this much left. To Su Fong, Origin Deity Clay wasn't a treasure at all. In any case, he still had to return to Cold Island, so he could enter Gloomwater Abyss to take some more. The goateed elder said, "Origin Deity Clay? Since Master Su said it's worth a high-grade Xianbao, then we'll go with this price. However, we still lack more than 20,000 blood demon stones. Su Fong thought for a moment and took out a fruit that was surrounded by lightning. It was a treasure from 6 extreme Tao, saints, lightning Dharma body, the reincarnation life and death fruit. The reincarnation life and death fruit had the supreme ability to temper and even reconstruct one's Tao heart. To any cultivator, it was a supreme treasure that they would scramble for. 6 extreme Tao saints, lightning Dharma body, had nurtured many reincarnation life and death fruits. To Su Fong, it wasn't an irreplaceable treasure, so Su Fong decided to take it out. Reincarnation life and death fruit. The scholarly middle-aged cultivator was shocked, and disbelief appeared in his eyes. The goateed elder's eyes also shone brightly. A spiritual item born from a Tao saint's Dharma body was naturally extraordinary. No wonder the scholarly middle-aged cultivator and the goateed elder were so shocked. The goateed elder's eyes flashed with greed. He swallowed his saliva and quickly returned to normal. He said in a low voice, "The origin deity clay and the reincarnation life and death fruit are indeed extraordinary. However, in this blood valley, their value is greatly reduced. They're not worth 30,000 blood demon stones. Such a great treasure is not worth 30,000 blood fiend stones?" Su Fong smiled coldly. This goateed elder was really a little too greedy. QL11, what was the purpose of cultivators entering the blood valley? It was to increase their strength. Not to mention the origin deity clay. The reincarnation life and death fruit's ability was extremely important to any cultivator. It was also a peerless treasure to supreme experts who surpassed Tao masters. However, the goateed elder said that it was not worth much. He was just trying to extort them. This was not ordinary greed. Since it's not enough, I can't take out any more treasures. I can only find other places that sell pill recipes, cauldrons, and ingredients. My treasures are unique, but your pill recipes and cauldrons are everywhere. Su Fong put away the 2 treasures and was about to leave the formation space. "Wait, I'll trade for these 2 treasures," Master Su suddenly said. The goateed elder smiled embarrassedly. "Fine, the mystic sect will suffer a bit this time. I'll trade with you." Su Fong sneered. "You may be willing, but I'm not. The value of my treasures far surpasses your pill recipes, cauldrons, and ingredients." The goateed elder raised his eyebrows and threatened in a sinister voice, "Young man, don't push your luck. What? If I'm not willing to trade, does the mystic sect plan to force me?" Su Fong revealed a mocking smile. The goateed elder's eyes exuded traces of bloodlust as an icy aura of slaughter emanated from his body. Inside Su Fong's Jiushuan Dao Palace, the experts of the black and yellow Dharma body all channeled their power into their Dharma bodies, preparing to deal a fatal blow to the goateed elder. The scholarly middle-aged cultivator suddenly said, "Fine, you can pick another treasure from this formation space. That should be enough, right?" The goateed elder looked at the scholarly middle-aged cultivator in shock. Master Su, the scholarly middle-aged cultivator, said majestically, "I'll take charge of this matter. If there's anything, I'll take responsibility." The scholarly middle-aged cultivator was obviously not from the mystic sect, but someone recruited by the mystic sect. However, he seemed to have a rather high position in the mystic sect. Chapter 2709. Pick a treasure at random. Su Fong was stunned for a moment before his heart palpitated with excitement. There were many good things in the array space. If he were to add another one, the origin divinity clay and the samsara extermination fruit would definitely not be a loss if he were to trade with the mystical sect. The middle-aged cultivator, who was respectfully called Grandmaster Su by the goateed old man, stroked his long beard and said, "Judging from your cultivation, it will be very difficult for you to keep your life on the blood slaughter stage. I suggest you pick a treasure like an array disc or an array flag. An array talisman is also fine. That way, you won't lose your life on the blood slaughter stage, even if you can't defeat your opponent." Su Fong nodded, and his gaze flashed past the treasures that were floating in the space of the formation. Among the various Grand Daos, the Grand Dao of array formations was the most vast and contained infinite Grand Dao profundities. It could be said that the cultivator himself was an array formation. Even the entire world was an endless array formation. The grand Tao of array formations was extremely important to any cultivator or force. From the small Xian Bao to the boundary of a force, all of them were inseparable from array formations. Therefore, almost every cultivator had mastered some array formations. However, those were just superficial knowledge. The true grand Tao of array formations was vast and endless, and wanting to be proficient in array formations was really too difficult. In the Jiushuan God realm, alchemists and refiners were very rare, and array masters who specialized in array formations were even rarer. Array formations were directly refined into array discs, array flags, or sealed into rune talismans. These kinds of treasures were usually used for defense and trapping enemies. They were several times more valuable than ordinary Xianbao. Although the mystical sect was not a large sect, just being able to refine array discs, array flags, and array talismans was enough to establish a foothold in the Jiushuan God realm. Which treasure should I pick? Su Fang was a bit embarrassed for a while. There were too many treasures, making him a bit dazzled. In the end, Su Fang's eyes fell on the compass-like treasure that Grandmaster Su had been studying before, and a surprised look appeared in his deep eyes. Master Su smiled and said, "Don't tell me you want this compass? This compass is not a treasure. I inadvertently obtained it from a cultivator. It was precisely because I saw that this compass contained the Tao of array formations that I wanted to figure out something from it. Who would have thought that after studying it for over 100,000 years, I would still be unable to figure out anything from it? I'll pick a random talisman and add this compass. How about that?" Su Fang said decisively. Although Master Su was surprised, he didn't say anything. Su Fang picked out an array symbol and took the compass. Then he handed over the low-grade blood demon pill recipe, the pill furnace, and the materials needed to refine the low-grade blood demon pill. Then he handed over the origin god mud and the samsara life and death fruit. However, Su Fang left the formation space with the treasures in his hands. After Su Fang left, the old man with the goatee said in a reproachful tone, "Master Su, why did you agree to that kid's request? Wouldn't we be able to save a lot of money by directly suppressing it with the help of the formation?" Master Su snorted coldly. "If I hadn't stopped you, I'm afraid you would have been a dead man by now." The old man with the goatee revealed a look of disbelief. "Why do you say that, Master Su?" Master Su's deep eyes flashed with fear. He snorted and said, "I'm an array master, and the blood armor on the blood demon avatar is actually a naturally formed formation in the Blood Valley. Therefore, I've studied the blood armor and the Star of Slaughter on it." The old man with the goatee was puzzled. Could it be that the kid's blood armor is different from others? Master Su nodded and said, "That's right. That cultivator just now seemed to be an ordinary one-star divine general of blood slaughter, but in fact he was not. The blood armor of ordinary cultivators was obtained from the Star of Slaughter City, but the blood armor of that cultivator just now was condensed from the blood demon avatar of other cultivators. Through the blood armor formation, I could even sense a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood." The old man with the goatee cried out involuntarily. Could it be that that kid devoured the blood demon avatar of that cultivator? Most likely, and he's not an ordinary cultivator. I can even sense the aura of a Tao master from the Star of Slaughter on his blood armor. Although your strength is not bad, could it be that you're more powerful than a Tao master? I stopped you to block the disaster for the mystic sect. Impossible. Even if that kid has the strength to kill a Tao master, how could his blood demon avatar devour the blood demon avatar of other cultivators? Ordinary people can't do it, but it doesn't mean that everyone can't do it. Especially some peerless geniuses, they can often do things that ordinary people can't do. The old man with the goatee still had a doubtful look on his face. Suddenly, QL11, the formation suddenly trembled, and a thought directly penetrated the formation and appeared in the space, turning into the figure of a young cultivator. Master Su's expression changed slightly as he shouted, "Who are you?" The young cultivator's voice was filled with incomparable arrogance. "I'm a disciple of the three highest profound sects, Chu Feng. The three highest profound sects. Master Su and the old man with the goatee hurriedly cupped their fists and bowed. Chu Feng nodded and said, "The kid who left your mystic sect just now is a fugitive that the three highest profound sects are trying to capture. I want to suppress him, and I need your mystic sect's cooperation." Su Feng left the mystic sect's formation space and walked towards the exit of the black market with Qing Xian. The harvest this time was not bad, and Su Feng's mood was also very good. Other than the pill formula and pill cauldron, the most precious treasure was the compass that Master Su regarded as a useless item. Although Su Feng could not recognize the origin of the compass, he could see that the compass contained a vast and profound formation with the help of the Heaven's Eye. Su Feng speculated that the compass should be as Master Su had speculated, containing the great Tao of formation. However, with Master Su's level, it was difficult for him to figure out any clues from it. And Su Feng had the Heaven's Eye, which was a supreme ability used to deduce the heavenly Tao. It was naturally easy for him to deduce the formation. Maybe I can figure out the great Tao of formation from this compass. In this way, I can use the formation to continuously improve my Xian Bao, which is also very beneficial for refining pills. I can even use the Heaven's Eye to comprehend the great Tao of formation. Su Feng calculated in his heart. Suddenly, buzz, buzz, buzz. A sensing force locked on his Su Feng, causing the Tao runes of the life shrinking technique to flicker rapidly. In the end, it condensed into a figure that Su Feng was very familiar with. Chu Feng. Chu Feng had arrived at the second Starkiller city before Su Feng. This was the territory of the three highest profound sects and another great power. It was not strange for him to appear here. However, Su Feng did not want to cause trouble. After sensing Chu Feng's destiny aura, he immediately quickened his pace. Unexpectedly, at the exit, a black market guard's figure flashed and blocked Su Feng's path. The formation at the exit of the black market also quickly closed. Looks like I'll have to go on a killing spree this time. A fierce aura surged in Su Feng's heart, and his eyes instantly turned blood red. You want to leave after stealing the treasure of the mystical sect? An angry roar came from the depths of the black market. It was the old man with the goatee from the mystical sect. While his voice was still echoing, the old man with the goatee borrowed the power of the formation and instantly arrived. He pointed at Su Feng and shouted angrily, "This brat just stole the treasure of the mystical sect. Capture him!" Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The surrounding black market guards were already prepared. They immediately pounced on Su Feng and sent out thoughts that turned into chains to shackle Su Feng. Scram! Su Feng shouted angrily. The dark yellow avatar that had been accumulating strength since a long time ago suddenly erupted with the might of 6 great gods, and it blasted the 10+ guards flying. A Tao Lord expert. This person is actually a Tao Lord in disguise. The gazes of those black market guards and the old man with the goatee instantly changed, and their eyes revealed shock. Especially the old man with the goatee. He couldn't help but feel a strand of regret and terror in his heart. Stealing from the territory of the three highest mysterious sect and still dare to be so arrogant. You truly have guts. Chu Feng brought along 10+ experts as he flew through the sky with a swish. Su Feng sneered indifferently. "You said I stole? The three highest mysterious sect wants to deal with my Su Feng. Why don't you dare to do it openly and use such a despicable method like framing me instead?" The numerous cultivators in the black market all gathered around. When they heard Su Feng say this, their gazes revealed suspicion as they looked at Chu Feng. Chu Feng said coldly, "You stole the treasure of the mystical sect, yet you still dare to quibble?" After that, his chilly gaze swept over the old man with the goatee. The old man with the goatee could only brace himself and stand out. He pointed at Su Feng and said, "That's right. It's precisely this person who pretended to make a deal with a mystical sect and stole the treasure of my sect." Chu Feng looked down at Su Feng and sneered complacently. "Su Feng, what else do you have to say now?" Su Feng sneered. "He said I stole, so I stole. If I say you stole Ling Xingqian's Dao companion, then would Ling Xingqian's head really be cuckolded by you? Audacious, impudent. The cultivators behind Chu Feng were all experts that the three highest mysterious sect had recruited from Second Starkiller City. When they saw Su Feng wantonly ridiculing Chu Feng and Ling Xingqian, they all angrily rebuked Su Feng. The old man with the goatee shouted, "He stole the treasure of the mystical sect. It's on his body." Chu Feng said, "Su Feng, if you can prove your innocence, the three highest mysterious sect won't make things difficult for you. If they really find the treasure of the mystical sect on your body, then they can only suppress you. Search me?" Su Feng revealed a domineering smile. Boom! Su Feng activated the Flame Steps treasured boots. His figure flashed and instantly appeared in front of the old man with the goatee. The old man with the goatee had never expected that Su Feng would actually dare to attack him in front of so many experts. He was immediately scared out of his wits. Chi! A fierce killing intent erupted from Su Feng's blood armor and attacked the old man's Dao heart. Taking advantage of the old man's Dao heart being shaken, Su Feng smashed the old man's head with a slap. Then, he grabbed a phantom from the corpse. It was the old man's soul. How can searching my body be more direct than searching my soul? Chapter 27:10. From Su Feng's sudden attack to killing the old man with the goatee, the entire process was completed in a flash. Chu Feng and the others didn't have time to react. The old man with the goatee was also an expert from the mystical sect. He was so easily killed by a Dao truth cultivator, which immediately shocked everyone present. In a land of slaughter like Star Slaughter City, only strength and methods were worthy of respect. Status and identity were secondary. Su Feng's display of strength and ruthlessness caused everyone to look at him in a different light. Qingxian was dumbstruck from afar. She never thought that the employer she didn't think highly of was actually so powerful. Moreover, he was so ruthless and decisive in his attacks. How was he a newbie? Qingxian shuddered when she thought of the news of her betrayal of Su Feng. Fortunately, Su Feng didn't pursue the matter. Otherwise, you dare to kill in the black market? Death. Chu Feng realized Su Feng's intention. A thought turned into sword chi and shot toward the old man's soul. The sword chi contained a supreme will of the heavenly Tao that could crush all wills. What Chu Feng used now was the supreme ability of the Three Supremes' mysterious sect, Heaven's Will heart-shattering sword. Chi! A thin red light flashed out of Su Feng's eyes. The true incinerating eye turned into a needle-like light and collided with Chu Feng's thought. The sword chi formed by Chu Feng's thought immediately shattered like a rubber ball that was pierced by a needle. In terms of ability, the true incinerating eye, which came from the extreme Dao mysterious Yang technique, far surpassed the abilities of the Three Supremes' mysterious sect. In terms of Dao heart and will, Su Feng surpassed Chu Feng. It was easy for him to break Chu Feng's thought. The abilities of the Three Supremes' mysterious sect are only SOSO. Su Feng sneered disdainfully. Immediately after, a sharp killing intent slashed the soul of the old man with the goatee. Chi! 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 The old man's soul shattered and turned into countless thoughts that dissipated into nothingness. Su Feng reached out and grabbed again. Hundreds of thoughts were controlled by his willpower. Those thoughts collapsed one after another, and the memories stored in them were displayed through the mind painting scroll. The scroll showed the entire process of Su Feng and the old man with the goatee. It was extremely clear and lifelike. Su Feng sneered. Now, what else does young Master Chu Feng have to say? Only then did everyone understand that the three highest profound sects and a mystical sect had colluded to frame Su Feng. The dignified Three Supreme Mysterious Sects actually used such a method, causing all the cultivators to scoff at them. However, this was the territory of the Three Supreme Mysterious Sects. If Chu Feng wanted to suppress Su Feng, how could he escape? Some people began to worry about Su Feng. Chu Feng didn't expect that his plan to frame Su Feng would be exposed by Su Feng in such a simple, direct, and ruthless and overbearing way. His shame turned into anger. Chu Feng, who was in the state of the blood, evil Dharma body, had a crazy killing intent flashing in his eyes. He shouted overbearingly, "Even if you didn't steal the treasures of the mystical sect, you still killed people. How can I tolerate you? You mean to say that I can let the mystical sect frame me, but I can only admit it obediently? The dignity of the strong cannot be provoked. Framing Su Feng is a capital offense, including you, Chu Feng, who has provoked me again and again. I will kill you all the same." Su Feng displayed a towering, domineering aura. Chu Feng sneered, "Today, you are in the territory of the three supreme mysterious sects. Let's see how you can suppress me." Su Feng said coldly, "Chu Feng, you have probably forgotten how the Blood Willow Gang was exterminated in the first Star Killer City after coming to the second Star Killer City." Chu Feng recalled the scene of the Blood Willow Gang being massacred by Su Feng, and he couldn't help but feel a chill run down his spine. However, after thinking about it, he sneered disdainfully, "Don't forget that this is the second Star Killer City, and this is the territory of the three supreme mysterious sects. Other than being suppressed, you have no other choice." Hiss! Three killing auras shot out from the Star Killer pattern on Chu Feng's blood armor. 3 slaughter marks. Chu Feng had actually cultivated 3 slaughter marks from the first Star Killer City to the second Star Killer City in such a short period of time. Obviously, he had relied on the forces of the 3 supreme mysterious sects in the second Star Killer City. However, this clearly showed that Chu Feng's natural talent was truly extraordinary. The slaughter marks on the Star Killer were fused with a cultivator's Tao heart and will, and they could release an even more formidable slaughter intent attack that directly destroyed the enemy's Tao heart. The 3 slaughter marks Chu Feng released swiftly interweaved and transformed into a lifelike white tiger. It roared and emanated monstrous killing intent as it pounced towards Su Feng. Merely its aura was sufficient to terrify ordinary cultivators, and its formidable intent attack was sufficient to kill intermediate Tao Lords. This was the extraordinary aspect of the Blood Fiend body. On the other hand, the Star Killer pattern on Su Feng's blood armor hadn't condensed a single slaughter mark, and it could only emanate an extremely scattered aura of slaughter. It was far from being able to compare with Chu Feng. Bang! The white tiger phantom struck Su Feng's chest and directly struck Su Feng's Tao heart. Su Feng's figure shook. However, the scene of Su Feng's Tao heart shattering that Chu Feng and all the other cultivators expected didn't occur. It turned out that Su Feng hadn't just activated his Tao heart. He'd even fused with the Tao heart and will of the 6 extreme Tao Lords. So, how could Chu Feng possibly shake that? Not only was Chu Feng's attack unable to shake Su Feng's Tao heart, it was shattered into pieces instead, and his attack vanished without a trace. This kid really is strange to the extreme. No, Wonderling Xingqian tried every means to capture him. Chu Feng's eyes revealed an expression of shock. Space suppression cage, suppress. Chu Feng released another strand of his intent. The intent contained the space grand Tao energy, Tao aura, and his will. It instantly confined Su Feng and the space around him. It transformed into an independent space like a cage. The cage swiftly shrunk, and it intended to shackle Su Feng's physical body, Tao Palace, avatar, and even his soul. Suddenly, a strand of intent flashed out from the black market and transformed into a large hand that pressed down on the cage formed from Chu Feng's intent. Puffed. The cage shattered, and Chu Feng's intent was broken. His original body was also affected, and he staggered and spat out a mouthful of blood. Su Feng regained his freedom, and he couldn't help but be shocked. He couldn't understand why someone would come to his rescue. A majestic voice came from a void. This trading ground is jointly owned by the 3 highest mysterious sects and the Great Sun Limitless sect. Chu Feng, you're just a disciple of the 3 highest mysterious sects. How can you act so recklessly in the trading ground? If word gets out, who would dare to come to this trading ground? How are the 2 major powers going to do business? It turned out that an expert from the Great Sun Limitless sect had come to rescue Su Feng. What's the great sun limitless sex intention? Su Fong naturally wouldn't believe the expert's words completely. He reckoned that there were other reasons that prompted the great sun limitless sex expert to come to his rescue. The majestic voice came again. Chu Fong, if you have any grievances, settle them on the blood slaughter arena. That's what a man is. Aren't you afraid of harming your Tao heart by using the sex power to suppress others? Why aren't you leaving? Yes, sir. Although Chu Fong was a disciple of the three highest mysterious sects, he didn't dare to be disrespectful in front of an expert from the Great Sun Limitless sect. He cupped his fists and bowed towards the depths of the black market. Then, Chu Fong glared at Su Fong hatefully and left with his subordinates in embarrassment. You're the guards of the trading ground, not Chu Feng's slaves. How dare you listen to his orders and frame a guest? A powerful will suddenly descended and landed on the bodies of the black market guards who blocked Su Fong's path. It suppressed their souls and killed them on the spot. Everyone was in awe. What happened just now was Chu Feng's fault. I will give you some compensation. Keep this command medallion. In the future, when you come to this trading ground, no one will touch you. You can also get some benefits when you trade. A black token jumped out from the void and landed in Su Fong's hand. Su Fong grabbed the token. He was even more puzzled. Wasn't this expert from the Great Sun Limitless sect a little too nice to him? Under everyone's envious gazes, Su Fong sucked the corpse of the old man with a goatee into the space within his body. He brought Qing Xian out of the array and quickly left the space where the black market was. I didn't expect young Master Su Fong to not only have extraordinary strength, but also have the support of an expert from the Great Sun Limitless sect. It seems like Qing Xian will have to rely on young master in the future. Qing Xian's attitude towards Su Fong became incomparably respectful. You've misunderstood. I don't know any expert from the Great Sun Limitless sect, Su Fong said indifferently. Qing Xian smiled and said, Young Master Su Fong is really secretive. If you have any instructions, young master can summon me at any time. After returning to the pavilion, Su Fong was still full of doubts. Let's not talk about the reason first. Let's look at the harvest this time. Su Fong grabbed the corpse of the old man with a goatee. In this person's storage ring, Su Fong found thousands of blood evil pills, more than 50,000 blood evil stones, and various other elixirs and resources, including Su Fong's origin deity mud and reincarnation life and death fruit. They were all in the storage ring. He had to admit that he had unexpectedly made a fortune this time. At least for a short period of time, he didn't have to worry about cultivation resources. Just as he was about to check the compass, the space suddenly trembled slightly. A talisman? It appeared. Su Fong grabbed the talisman. He injected some magic power into it. The talisman? It immediately burned and turned into a ray of fire. In the fire, there was a lifelike figure. When Su Fong saw the figure's face clearly, the divine light in his eyes changed instantly. Ancestor Luo. That figure was Goddess Luo's adoptive father, the expert from beyond the sky who was respected by the cultivators of the Pansong universe as Ancestor Luo. Although his face was no longer as old as before, but a young man in his 20s, the aura of destiny from his face and figure was definitely not wrong. In the Pansong universe, after Su Fong entered the heavenly worthy mountain, Ancestor Luo disappeared from the Pansong universe. He never expected to meet Ancestor Luo again in the second star killer city of the Blood Valley. Chapter 2711. You were the one who helped me in the black market. Su Fong immediately understood and asked in a deep voice. Ancestor Luo nodded and said, That's right. I invited the Great Sun Limitless Path expert to come forward and resolve the crisis for you. Su Fong asked in surprise, How did you manage to invite the Great Sun Limitless Path expert? Ancestor Luo said indifferently, You don't have the right to ask about my matters. I'm not contacting you this time to catch up with you. I'm contacting you to warn you. Warn me about what? Su Fong asked coldly. Back in the Pansong universe, although Ancestor Luo had saved Su Fong, he had also erased Su Fong's fate and memories. Dong Xinzheng was also instigated by him, which led to the destruction of Su Fong's grandfather's soul reincarnation. In the end, He was taken away by Dongshinro. Later on, when goddess Luo entered the celestial worthy mountain, it was ancestor Luo who instigated her behind the scenes, which led to her death. If not for the heavenly Tao core, she would have disappeared from the world. Therefore, Su Fong only had killing intent towards ancestor Luo. He did not have any good impression of him. In this Jiuquan divine domain, you have no foundation. Furthermore, you are from the lowly heaven-forsaken slave clan. Even if your talent is heaven-defying, if you continue to be as arrogant as you were in the Pansong universe, you would die sooner or later. What kind of power is the three supreme mysterious sects? How can you offend them? This time, I have paid a great price to plead for you. I only saved you because I feel guilty towards Goddess Luo. This is the only time I will help you. In the future, I will not help you again. You're on your own. Ancestor Luo's voice gradually faded away. In the end, it disappeared without a trace as the flames disappeared. I originally thought that Ancestor Luo was an expert under the celestial worthy. Now, it seems that this Ancestor Luo is not that simple. Su Fong smiled indifferently, and a sharp light flashed in his eyes. This time, even if Ancestor Luo did not help, Su Fong could resolve the crisis by himself. At most, he could just kill his way out of the black market space. Favors were favors. Debts of the past still had to be settled. Don't worry about Patriarch Luo for now. The most important thing is to quickly improve my strength. Su Fong threw the matter of the Luo ancestor to the back of his mind and reached out to grab the compass he obtained from the mysterious sect. He released his dermic powers and sent them into the compass along with his primordial spirit consciousness. Who knew from the compass gushed out an astonishing divine aura of a formation, as well as a peerlessly powerful divine aura of a primordial spirit, and it shattered Su Fong's magic power and primordial spirit consciousness. Su Fong's face turned pale in an instant. If he did not have a primordial spirit Dharmakaya, he would have been seriously injured by the formation in the compass and the impact of the primordial spirit. Strange, this is really strange. Su Fong wiped the sweat off his forehead and looked at the compass with fear in his eyes. It was no wonder that Master Su of the mystical sect was unable to discover the mysteries of the compass even after obtaining it. Unexpectedly, Su Fong Shixian Daozu suddenly said, "That is a wondrous treasure from another divine domain. You were able to obtain this item because of your purple fate Dharmakaya. It is a supreme fortune brought to you." Su Fong seized the opportunity and hurriedly asked, "Master, what treasure is this?" This item comes from the Northern Profound Divine Domain, one of the 9 great divine domains. The cultivators of the Northern Profound Divine Domain are most proficient in the Tao of formations. The most powerful formation masters of the Jiuquan Divine Domain are all from the Northern Profound Divine Domain. The Tao of formations of the Northern Profound Divine Domain contains the endless mysteries of the primordial chaos. It can manifest the myriad of things in the world, trap enemies, and kill them without them noticing. When cultivated to the peak, experts can create a formation with just a thought, turning their thoughts into a great formation of heaven and earth to seal and kill strong enemies. It is truly powerful. The Xianbao you obtained is called the Luo Tian Wheel. It means that it encompasses the endless mysteries of heaven and earth. This Luo Tian Wheel was created by a top formation master of the Northern Profound Divine Domain. It is specially used to train disciples to comprehend the Tao of formations and cultivate the primordial spirit. Shixian Daozu's explanation allowed Su Fong to understand the origin and use of this compass. Then, Su Fong asked in confusion, "Since it is a Xianbao that comprehends the Tao of formations, how can it cultivate the primordial spirit? What is a formation? From the smallest grass, every tree, every life form, to the universe, and even the endless primordial chaos, everything is a formation. However, formations are extremely mysterious. You can only use the primordial spirit to comprehend the heaven and earth and seek the truth from the primordial chaos. Thus, The primordial spirit is the first innate condition to cultivate formations. Only those with a strong primordial spirit are qualified to cultivate the Tao of formations. At the same time, cultivating the Tao of formations is the best way to strengthen the primordial spirit. The Tao of formations is a type of supreme grand Tao that can directly lead to the essence of cultivation. Moreover, it's extremely beneficial to the cultivation of other grand Taos and the improvement of one's strength. Pill refinement and equipment refinement can't be separated from the Tao of formations. Thus, I suggest that you cultivate the Tao of formations as well. You coincidentally have a primordial spirit body and can use it to cultivate the Tao of formations. Also, you cultivate the heavenly divination solution and have the heavenly divination astrolabe. Combined with this Luo Tian wheel, you have advantages that those northern profound divine formation geniuses do not have. It really is a pity if you do not use it to cultivate the Tao of formations. Shixian Daozu clearly placed great importance on the Tao of formations and said so much to Su Fong in one go. Su Fong readily agreed. Yes, master. However, how to merge this Luo Tian wheel? You can slowly think about it. Such a minor matter, haha. There is no need for master to teach you personally. Shixian Daozu laughed, and his voice disappeared into Su Fong's Jioshuan Dao Palace. Su Fong had no choice but to suck the Luo Tian wheel into his Jioshuan Dao Palace and use his primordial spirit body to slowly study it. He did not have any other good ideas and could only use the power of his primordial spirit to permeate the Luo Tian wheel and find out what was inside. Time and time again, the power of his primordial spirit permeated the Luo Tian wheel and was shattered by the divine power of the primordial spirit released by the Luo Tian wheel. Even his primordial spirit body was shaken and attacked, causing Su Fong's primordial spirit body to face an unprecedented pressure. However, Su Fong soon found that as the power of his primordial spirit continued to permeate the Luo Tian wheel, it was shattered again. Su Fong was shocked to find that his primordial spirit body was becoming more condensed and powerful after each attack. It seems that the Luo Tian wheel is indeed beneficial for cultivating the primordial spirit body. Su Fong was filled with anticipation as he used his primordial spirit body to study the Luo Tian wheel. Next, Su Fong began to take out the elixir recipe for refining the blood evil pill and prepare to start refining the elixir. The Tao of alchemy in the Jioshuan God domain was different from the Tao of alchemy that Su Fong had mastered in the Pansong universe. Su Fong had to study the elixir recipe carefully and then go through continuous alchemy experiments before he could refine the blood evil pill. Just by studying the elixir recipe, he would definitely not be able to figure out the Tao of alchemy. Su Fong used the mysterious solution of heaven to deduce the elixir recipe and analyze the elixir recipe for the blood evil pill. He traced the root of the elixir recipe and comprehended the Tao of alchemy. Compared to other alchemists who learned from their masters step by step, Su Fong's method was difficult. However, he cultivated his own Tao of alchemy. While studying the Tao of alchemy, Su Fong also began to comprehend and cultivate the Wuji Sutra of Jioshuan and various divine powers. He was also wantonly devouring blood evil stones and blood evil pills to improve his blood evil dharma body. Su Fong could not stay in second Killer Star City for too long. He could only quickly improve his blood evil dharma body and become a 2-star divine blood killer general. Time flew by. Su Fong was immersed in cultivation. Unknowingly, 3,000 years had passed. After such a long time, Su Fong finally managed to cultivate 3 slash marks on the blood armor of the Blood Fiend celestial body. For this, he had consumed nearly 5,000 Blood Fiend stones. The 1,000 Blood Fiend pills that he had obtained from the goateed elder of the mystical sect had also been consumed by Su Fong. Not only that, when Su Fong cultivated the blood evil dharma body, he also integrated a large number of life and blood chi of experts, including the peerless expert of the Xian clan who had surpassed the Tao Master. Su Fong did not expect that cultivating the blood evil dharma body would be so difficult. If he had not made a windfall by accident, he would not have been able to bear such a large consumption. However, now that Su Fong had condensed 3 slashes, the blood evil Dharma body strength was far superior to other cultivators. If I meet Chu Fong now, I can crush him with just my killing aura, severely injure his Tao heart, and shatter his will. Su Fong's face was full of confidence. Buzz. Suddenly, there was a commotion from the Jiuquan Dao Palace. Pleasantly surprised, Su Fong quickly merged his consciousness with the primordial spirit Dharma body's consciousness. It turned out that after so many years of continuous effort, he had finally penetrated his primordial spirit power into the Luo Tian wheel. His primordial spirit consciousness passed through the sea of formations and arrived at a formation space-time. In the space-time, there were countless balls of light of various colors floating. There were countless of them. Su Fong estimated that there were more than 1,000,000 of them. Could these balls of light be thoughts? Su Fong was very curious. His primordial spirit consciousness touched a ball of light. Unexpectedly, his primordial spirit consciousness immediately fell into a formation and was trapped inside. Although it was still connected to Su Fong's primordial spirit, it could not come out. It turns out that each of these balls of light is a formation. Only by comprehending the mysteries of the formation can one's primordial spirit consciousness come out. It's not difficult to comprehend one formation, but how long will it take to comprehend so many formations? The Tao of formations is indeed vast and endless. Fortunately, I have mastered the heavenly divination solution and have the ability to deduce the changes of the heavenly Tao. In addition, I can use heavenly venerable Pan Song's Empyrean astrolabe to verify and deduce the formation. It's not difficult to comprehend these formations. His primordial spirit Dharma body continued to comprehend and cultivate the Tao of formations. Su Fong's Xianyang Dharma body merged with his physical body and began to refine the blood evil pill for the first time. First, he ground all kinds of materials into medicinal powder and mixed it according to the ratio. After doing all this, Su Fong took out a pill cauldron and poured the medicinal powder into it. Then, he activated the Xianyang Dharma body's power and turned it into true fire. He began to spit fire from his palms to burn the pill cauldron. Chapter 27:12. The blood demon pill was different from other pills. Apart from the pill recipe, materials, and pill cauldron, there was another very important factor related to the quality of the pill, and that was the blood demon qi. An alchemist must integrate the blood demon qi into the pill. The blood demon qi in the space of Star Slaughter City came from the blood-colored star above the city. The purer and more advanced the blood demon qi, the higher the quality and efficacy of the pill. Su Fong methodically refined the blood demon pill. During the refining process, he used his heaven-prying eye to clearly see the changes in the energy during the entire process. 3 days later, the energy fluctuations in the pill cauldron suddenly became chaotic. Su Fong raised his eyebrows and waved his hand to release a divine power that enveloped the pill cauldron. Boom! With a muffled sound, the pill cauldron exploded. The low-grade pill cauldron and the alchemy materials inside were all turned into slag. Su Fong's divine power defense was also shattered. If he hadn't reacted in time, he might have been injured. For a cultivator who had just started learning alchemy, this was a very common thing. The reason is none other than my profound Yang Qi's true fire is too overbearing, and the quality of the pill cauldron is too poor, which caused the cauldron to explode. Su Fong pondered for a while and found the reason for the failure. Then, Su Fong took out a black pill cauldron. Its quality was a grade higher than the previous one. It was a mid-grade pill cauldron. In the black market, Su Fong killed the goateed old man of the mysterious sect and plundered all his treasures. Naturally, he didn't lack a pill cauldron for refining pills. In the next few years, Su Fong experienced countless failures and used up the 100 sets of alchemy materials he bought. Alchemy burned money like this. Any alchemy grandmaster was created by piling up countless resources. Therefore, if a poor person wanted to learn alchemy, they shouldn't even think about it. Fortunately, among the treasures of the goateed old man, There were a lot of materials for refining the blood demon pill. There were even mid-grade and high-grade pill recipes, but Su Fong didn't need them for the time being. After hundreds of failures, Su Fong finally succeeded in refining a furnace of blood demon pills. The blood demon pills that he refined were far inferior to those sold on the black market. There was no way that they could compare to the blood demon pills sold by the Chamber of Commerce. A normal blood demon pill's quality could be judged by the lines on the pill. The quality of the 9-vein pill was naturally the highest, but very few people could refine it. It was simply impossible to see it in Star Slaughter City. Generally, the blood demon pills sold in the black market were mostly 3-vein pills. But the highest grade that the Chamber of Commerce sold was a 6-vein pill. Although Su Fong had successfully refined the Blood Fiend pill, it was already not bad to have 1 or 2 1-mark pills in a furnace of pills. The pill cauldron I used was a mid-grade Xianbao, and I used the profound Yang True Fire. As for the spirit water used for spirit cleansing, it was the primary spirit water. Furthermore, I used the Heaven's Divination Profound Explanation to control the entire pill refining process without any mistakes. Logically speaking, the quality shouldn't be so bad, right? Su Fong was puzzled. He pondered for a long time. I understand now. It's because of the blood demon Qi. The blood demon Qi is too thin. Therefore, the quality of the pills is too poor. Su Fong finally found a reason. For Su Fong, this was not a problem. It just so happened that he had just mastered a formation that gathered natural spirit Qi. It was called the 9-turn spirit convergence formation. This formation was originally used by cultivators to gather natural spirit Qi. Compared to ordinary spirit convergence formations, the 9-turn spirit convergence formation's ability to gather spirit Qi was at most 9 times higher. In Star Slaughter City, the blood demon Qi released by the blood-colored stars was also a kind of spirit Qi. Naturally, the 9-turn spirit convergence formation could also gather the blood demon Qi and then inject it into the pill cauldron to refine pills. Su Fong immediately created the formation in the pavilion. However, with his current mastery of formations, the 9-turn spirit convergence formation could only achieve 3 turns. That was to compress the blood demon Qi 3 times, making the blood demon Qi 3 times purer and more majestic. This level of blood fiendish Qi was naturally more than enough to refine pills. Half a year later, when a medicinal fragrance wafted out of the pill cauldron, Su Fong injected some divine primary water into the pill cauldron. Huff, a blood-colored fragrance wafted out of the pill cauldron, revealing a fierce, murderous aura and blood demon Qi. Then, with a grab, more than a dozen black pills with a hint of blood-red color floated out of the pill cauldron. He carefully examined them. The pills were only the size of pearls, much smaller than the ordinary blood demon pills sold by the Chamber of Commerce. There were many patterns on the pills, but they were not like the blood patterns of ordinary blood demon pills. Instead, they were silver-gray patterns like the Star Slaughter pattern on the blood armor. They looked a little strange and did not look like blood demon pills. It's probably because the flame I used to refine pills and the blood demon Qi I used is different, so the appearance of the blood demon pills refined is different. I don't know how effective my blood demon pills are. I hope they don't refine poisonous pills. Su Fong felt uneasy. After fusing the blood demon clone with his physical body, Su Fong gritted his teeth and swallowed a blood demon pill. Puff! The blood demon pill melted in his mouth, emitting a wisp of spiritual smoke and entering his body. After a few breaths, a majestic blood demon Qi surged in the blood demon clone, and the pure and majestic medicinal power began to erupt. QL11, not only did it increase the blood demon Qi in the blood demon clone, but it also merged with the blood demon Qi inside the blood demon clone. It roared wildly in his body, turning into a flame that burned wildly inside the blood demon clone. In such a state, there was no need to cultivate at all. The blood demon clone was undergoing amazing changes. The blood armor and the Star Slaughter pattern on the blood armor were also changing along with it. It lasted for 6 hours before the medicinal power subsided. Su Fong sensed and found that a single blood demon pill had improved his blood demon clone a lot. He felt that the blood demon chi in his body was incomparably majestic. The blood patterns on the blood armor had obviously become thicker. On the star slaughter pattern, another shallow slaughter mark had condensed. Although it had not successfully condensed, it was not far from it. Of course, being able to condense the fourth slaughter mark was due to Su Feng's previous accumulation. However, the blood demon pill he refined was very effective in restoring the blood demon clone and breaking through the bottleneck. Is this still a blood demon pill refined from a low-grade elixir recipe? Su Feng was shocked and immediately fell into ecstasy. The blood demon pill I refine now is not perfect. If I can become proficient in refining and improve my ability to create formations, then I can refine high-quality blood demon pills with a middle-grade elixir recipe. The quality will be even more amazing. Su Feng was very happy. Next, he refined more than a dozen furnaces of blood demon pills in one go. There were about 200 pills. Su Feng was also very tired, but he did not have time to rest. He took the pills and went straight to the black market. Because he had the token given by the Great Sun Limitless Sect expert, Su Feng did not need Qing Xian to lead him this time. He directly entered the black market with the token. After walking around the black market and paying attention to the blood demon pills sold at other stalls, Su Feng was very confident. The blood demon pills sold in the black market could not be compared to the blood demon pills he refined. After paying 100 blood demon stones and renting a stall, Su Feng grabbed a Xian Guang and floated 100 blood demon pills above the stall. Then, he closed his eyes and sat cross-legged on the ground, waiting for buyers to come. In his mind, he even imagined the scene of the blood demon pills he refined being crazily bought up by numerous cultivators. Just as Su Feng had expected, a customer soon came to his door. "What are you selling? What are you selling?" Su Feng was annoyed that his carefully refined elixir was called, "What are you selling?" Su Feng was angry. He opened his eyes and said indifferently, "You don't even know what a blood demon pill is?" The one who asked was a middle-aged cultivator. His body was emitting a strong, fiendish aura. There was a star pattern on his blood armor, and there were 7 slaughter marks. His strength was extraordinary. The middle-aged cultivator was startled. Then he smiled and said, "This is the first time I've seen a blood demon pill like this. Is that really a blood demon pill and not some poison pill?" The cultivators in the nearby stalls gathered around. They looked at Su Feng's elixir and discussed it. There was no lack of ridicule. The main reason was that the blood demon pill Su Feng refined was too strange. The cultivators of Star Slaughter City had never seen a silver-patterned blood demon pill. In addition, Su Feng looked too young. He didn't look like an alchemist at all. Su Feng was enraged by everyone's ridicule, but he could only endure it. The middle-aged cultivator asked, "How much are you selling your blood demon pills for?" Su Feng was too lazy to speak. He raised a finger. The middle-aged cultivator said, "1 blood demon stone for 1 pill? It's not expensive. I'll buy them all." Su Feng said coldly, "My blood demon pills are 100 blood demon stones for 1. The middle-aged cultivator was shocked. Then, he snorted disdainfully. 100 blood demon stones for 1 blood demon pill? Are you crazy about blood demon stones? Even a Chamber of Commerce's 6-pattern pill is only at this price. Your elixir might not be poisonous, but you dare to ask for 100 blood demon stones for 1 pill? The other stall owners who were watching all burst into laughter. Su Feng's heart burned with rage, but there was nothing he could do. In the next few days, Su Feng couldn't sell a single blood demon pill. The excitement he had when he first arrived at the black market was now gone. I'll just use it myself. I won't run out of blood demon pills for a while anyway." Su Feng was depressed. He was about to pack up his stall and leave. At this time, a young girl came over and asked, "How much are you selling your elixir for?" Su Feng's divine light wrapped around the young girl's body. The young girl was only 16 or 17 years old. She looked delicate and pretty, and when she bit her lip, she was very charming. He didn't expect to see such a delicate young girl in Star Slaughter City. However, this young girl wasn't really delicate. Her cultivation was at the middle stage of the Tao Lord realm, and she was also covered in blood armor. There were 8 slaughter marks on the Star Slaughter pattern. It was unknown how such a young girl entered the Blood Valley. However, in Su Fong's eyes, this young girl was a customer. He immediately became spirited. 100 blood demon stones for 1 elixir. Give me 10 of them. The young girl bought 10 without hesitation. Su Fong was overjoyed. The depression in his heart was instantly swept away. Xiaochan, what are you doing? A young cultivator called out to the young girl from afar. The young girl hurriedly paid for the blood demon stones, put away the blood demon pills, and walked over. With 1,000 blood demon stones in hand, Su Fong was overjoyed. He walked toward the exit of the black market. The young girl and the young cultivator's voices came from behind. Su Fong heard them clearly with his perfect hearing. 1,000 blood demon stones. You bought such a useless elixir? Maybe it's a poisonous elixir. You must have been cheated. Senior brother will get the blood demon stones back for you. Senior brother? I saw that the cultivator was young and pitiful. He was selling elixirs, but no one was interested, so I went to buy them. I'll throw them away when I get back. Chapter 27:13. Su Fong was full of confidence in the pills he refined. He thought he could definitely sell them for a good price. Who knew no one was interested in the blood evil pills he refined? What left him especially depressed was that his only customer had bought 10 blood demon pills because they thought he was pitiful. Su Fong hurriedly left the black market with a depressed heart. Since the 3-stripe blood evil pill is not enough, I'll use the middle grade pill formula to refine the 6-stripe blood evil pill. There will always be someone who knows the value of the pills I refined. Returning to the pavilion where he lived, Su Fong's heart surged with a ruthless determination. He began to concentrate all his energy to refine higher quality blood evil pills. Just as Su Fong was in a low and depressed mood, a silver-white flying car was slowly flying from the black market to the city lord's mansion. Inside the flying car, Xiaochan, before we left Heaven Pavilion, I repeatedly warned you that the world of cultivation is dangerous, especially in this blood valley. People's hearts are unpredictable, and you should not show your kindness. However, you did not listen to my advice. 1,000 blood evil stones are enough to buy 10 6-stripe blood evil elixirs, but you bought 10 poisonous elixirs. A handsome young cultivator was reprimanding a young girl with a serious expression. That girl was the shy girl who pitted Su Fong and bought 10 pills from Su Fong in the black market. The girl said timidly, Senior Marshal Brother Chen, Xiaochan knows. But that cultivator is really pitiful. Moreover, the pills he sold might not necessarily be poisonous. The young cultivator patted his forehead and looked like he had a headache. He shook his head helplessly and said, Forget it. Hurry up and throw away the pills you bought. That cultivator is obviously an unorthodox alchemist. The pills he refined must be poisonous. If you make a mistake, you will lose your life. Xiaochan helplessly took out the pills from her storage ring and was about to throw them out of the flying car. Suddenly, QL-11 hiss. A roar suddenly sounded from the star of slaughter pattern on the young cultivator's crimson armor, and the star of slaughter pattern flashed. The young cultivator was shocked and stunned. A blood-red, snake-like phantom flashed out of the pattern. With a whoosh, it grabbed a pill and swallowed it. Fiend Dragon, shut up. The young cultivator was shocked and quickly stopped the shadow. It turned out that the young cultivator's method of cultivating the blood demon Dharma body was completely different from other cultivators. He actually used a supreme forbidden technique to suppress a blood monster and seal it in the killing star, causing the blood demon Dharma body's strength to increase greatly. Never in his wildest dreams could he have imagined that the blood fiend dragon seal within the star of slaughter pattern would fly out of its own accord and swallow a medicinal pill. Furthermore, it was most likely a poisonous pill. By the time he reacted, it was already too late. The blood monster had already swallowed the blood demon pill. In order to suppress this demonic dragon, this king has spent a great deal of time and energy. If something happens to it because of this blood demon pill, this king will definitely teach that alchemist a lesson. The young cultivator was worried, but there was nothing he could do. About 10 breaths later, roar. The roar of an evil dragon came from the star of slaughter pattern, and an astonishing murderous aura swept out. It broke through the space array inside the flying carriage and rushed outside. The star of slaughter pattern on the young cultivator's blood armor had an additional slaughter mark. The young cultivator sensed it and found that the blood fiend dragon had improved a lot in a short period of time. Even the blood demon dharma body had improved a lot. What kind of medicinal pill is this? How can its medicinal power be so amazing? The young cultivator was shocked and shocked. He grabbed the blood demon pill from the girl's hand. After sensing it carefully, shock and surprise surged in his eyes. It was incredible. Even a real 3-vein or 6-vein pill couldn't have such an amazing effect. Xiaochan, who is that cultivator? How many more of these medicinal pills does he have? The young cultivator stared at Xiaochan with burning eyes and couldn't wait to ask her. Xiaochan said with a red face, "It seems that there are still a lot. I pitted him and planned to buy all of them, but I only have 1,000 blood demon stones on me. Is this blood demon pill really that powerful?" The young cultivator sighed. "It's more than powerful. The blood demon chi contained in this blood demon pill is pure and high grade. It's far superior to other blood demon pills. Moreover, it has the ability to quickly recover the blood demon dharma body and let it break through the bottleneck and form the slaughter mark." Xiaochan said in disbelief, "It's that powerful." Then, she revealed a proud expression. "How about it?" Xiaochan said that kindness will definitely be rewarded. The young cultivator's eyes were hale and hearty as he said, "I didn't expect that there would be such an amazing blood demon pill in the second star of Slaughter City. If I have a large number of these blood demon pills, I might be able to win 100 battles in this trial and obtain the blood slaughter token. I might even be able to enter the profound sky ranking." Xiaochan clenched her small fist. Senior brother Yichen will definitely defeat Dong Xinjun and win 100 battles. How can it be so easy to defeat Dong Xinjun? However, this silver vein pill might be my chance. I must find that alchemist and get the medicinal pills in his hands at all costs. The young cultivator's eyes flashed with determination. From tomorrow onwards, Xiaochan will accompany senior brother and wait in the black market. That pitiful alchemist will definitely appear again. The young cultivator couldn't help but laugh. Pitiful? How can an alchemist with such extraordinary alchemy skills be pitiful? Such an extraordinary person will definitely not be a fish in a pond in the future. Since I met him, I must befriend him no matter what. Su Feng naturally didn't know that his blood demon pills that no one cared about would be valued so much by a genius from the Eastern Profound Sky Pavilion. He was still very depressed at this moment and continued to immerse himself in refining blood demon pills. "I don't believe that no one cares about my blood demon pills to the point where I need a little girl to pity them." Su Feng entered a frenzied state of refining pills. Putting aside the ingredients and cauldron, the flame he used to refine pills was the profound Yang True Fire that surpassed the 9 Yang True Fire. During the process of refining pills, he also used the heavenly divination solution. His ability to refine pills was definitely not weaker than those alchemy grandmasters. Moreover, the spirit water he used to cleanse his spirit was the primary origin divine water, especially the blood demon chi. As he continued to comprehend the Tao of formations, the 9-turn spirit gathering formation he created could already reach the height of a 6-turn spirit gathering formation. It was purer and more majestic than before. With all sorts of extraordinary methods, how could a blood demon pill refined from this be ordinary? Another 300 years passed. Su Feng refined more than 500 6-pattern blood demon pills in one go according to the middle-grade pill recipe. What made Su Feng depressed and helpless was that although the blood demon pill was 6-patterned, it was the same as the 3-pattern blood demon pill he refined previously. They were all silver gray in color. Why aren't they blood? Why are they silver? Su Feng looked at the silver-gray patterns on the blood demon pills. He guessed that this time, no one would care about them like last time. Let's see how the medicinal power of the pills is. Next, Su Feng swallowed more than 10 6-pattern blood demon pills that he refined. The effects of the pills did not disappoint him. The pure and majestic blood demon chi made the killing star pattern on Su Feng's blood armor not only perfect the 4th slaughter mark, but also successfully condensed the 5th slaughter mark. One had to know that the more slaughter marks there were on the blood armor killing star, the more difficult it would be to successfully condense them. The difficulty of condensing the fifth slaughter mark was far greater than the sum of the previous four slaughter marks. However, Su Fong was able to condense the fifth slaughter mark so easily. It was enough to show that the six-pattern blood demon pill he refined was extraordinary. I don't believe that there is no one who knows what is good for them. Hope reignited in Su Fong's heart. He once again went to the black market. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Just as he arrived outside the pavilion where the black market was located, a sensing force swept past Su Fong's body. It immediately caused the Tao runes of the heavenly secret life shrinking technique to flicker rapidly. Swoosh, swoosh. Immediately after, more than 10 cultivators flew out from the surrounding pavilions and surrounded Su Fong. It seems like Chu Fong from the three supreme mysterious sects is still unwilling to give up. Su Fong's eyes exuded a sharp killing intent. However, contrary to Su Fong's expectations, the dozen or so cultivators only surrounded him without any intention of attacking. The leading cultivator cupped his fist towards Su Fong and said, "Sir, did you sell 10 pills to a young lady in the black market 300 years ago? Not from the three supreme mysterious sects." Su Fong heaved a sigh of relief and answered truthfully, "That's right. Then it's you. I was entrusted by someone to wait for you here for many years. Please wait for a moment." That cultivator nodded and took out a rune talisman. Could it be that there was really a problem with the pills I sold last time? Su Fong's heart sank. If that young lady really had a problem because of the pills, Su Fong would feel guilty in his heart. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, a figure flew over as fast as lightning. "You really appeared. It took me a long time to find you." It was the young lady who pitted Su Fong and bought 10 blood demon pills from Su Fong. Could it be that there was really a problem with the pills? Su Fong's heart thumped. The young lady grabbed Su Fong's arm and asked anxiously, "Big brother, do you still have the pills you sold last time?" Seeing that nothing was wrong, Su Fong calmed down and smiled bitterly. "I still have some, but I don't need your pity. Sell them all to me." The young lady flipped her right hand and rolled out a xianguang. There was a pile of blood demon stones in it. There were more than 10,000 of them. Only then did Su Fong understand that there was nothing wrong with the blood demon pills he refined. It was just that they were too extraordinary and were discovered by the young lady. Su Fong's spirit was immediately lifted. "I've refined some new pills this time." Su Fong took out his storage ring. All of the blood demon pills were in this storage ring. "Big brother, I bought all your pills. You don't have to go to the black market to sell pills anymore. Take those blood demon stones first. Don't look for me for the rest. Senior brother is in a hurry to get these pills. I won't talk to you anymore. You don't have to thank me." The young lady grabbed the storage ring and flew away. "My pills," Su Fong was dumbfounded. In the storage ring, in addition to the 3-pattern blood demon pills he refined before, there were also 506-pattern blood demon pills he just refined. Now that the young lady had taken all of them, it was a big loss. But the young lady was so warm-hearted that Su Fong couldn't get angry no matter what. 500 pills can be sold for 10,000 blood demon stones. I could still save my money. Chapter 27:14. After returning to the pavilion where he lived, Su Fong became more and more depressed. He had been counting on refining pills to earn blood evil stones, but he hadn't expected to encounter such a situation. "I'm not sure of blood evil stones now, so I should focus on improving the strength of the blood evil avatar first, and then go to the blood slaughter arena." Su Fong calculated the time. Every 10,000 years, he had to accept a challenge on the blood slaughter arena. Now, nearly half of the time had passed, so it was time to prepare for the blood slaughter arena. QL11, therefore, he temporarily gave up the idea of refining pills to make money. He took out the blood evil stones and asked Qing Xian to buy alchemy materials. However, he no longer planned to sell the pills he refined, but used them all for his own cultivation. Next, Su Fong began to cultivate in seclusion. In addition to the blood evil stones and blood evil pills, Su Fong also cultivated with the help of a 9-turn spirit convergence array, so the speed of improvement of the Blood Evil avatar was naturally astonishing. In the blink of an eye, more than 3,000 years had passed. With the help of the 9-turn spirit convergence array, the Blood Evil stones, and the Blood Evil pills, he refined himself. Su Fong condensed 9 slash marks on the killing star pattern, and the strength of the Blood Evil avatar also doubled. Not only had the Blood Evil avatar improved, but he had also been studying the Luo Tian wheel over the years. His mastery of the Tao of formations had also improved by leaps and bounds. Of the 1 million formations in the Luo Tian wheel space, he had mastered nearly 1/5 of them. Such speed was amazing. This was mainly thanks to Su Fong's primordial spirit avatar. Another, more important reason was that he had been practicing the sky divination solution for many years, and, at the same time, he had the sky divination astrolabe to deduce and comprehend formations. Su Fong estimated that his current level of formations had almost reached the level of a true array master. Over the years, his primordial spirit avatar had also improved rapidly. However, in the process of comprehending formations, the primordial spirit avatar had to endure great pain, which Su Fong had never experienced before. During this period, Su Fong also refined a large number of talismans according to the formations he had mastered. Although they were all low-level talismans, the number was astonishing, and their power was extraordinary. He had also refined quite a few 6-vein pills, as well as a small number of 7-vein and 8-vein blood fiend pills. Unfortunately, he hadn't been able to refine 9-vein pills. The main reason was that his array formation skills weren't good enough. He couldn't truly achieve 9 revolutions of the 9 revolutions spirit convergence array. It's time to go to the blood slaughter arena. When everything was ready, Su Fong ended his closed-door cultivation. He took out a rune talisman. Qing Xian, I plan to go to the blood slaughter arena to gain experience. Help me choose an opponent. Qing Xian quickly came to the pavilion. Young Master Su Fong is finally going to enter the blood slaughter arena. You don't know, but the blood slaughter arena has been in chaos these years. Su Fong said indifferently. Could it be that a peerless genius has entered the blood slaughter platform? That's right, there are indeed 3 geniuses from the Eastern Profound Heaven Pavilion. Su Fong raised his eyebrows. Eastern Profound Heaven Pavilion? 3 of them came at once. That's right. One of them is called Dong Xinjun. Not only is he a disciple of Tao Master, but he is also a peerless genius on the Heavenly Profound ranking. He Lianzhan 30 times on the blood slaughter arena and defeated all his opponents. Qing Xian was shocked and was full of awe for the genius called Dong Xianjun. However, the most amazing one is not Dong Xianjun, but another genius from the Eastern Profound Heaven Pavilion called Dong Xianichen. Is this person more powerful than Dong Xianjun? No. It is said that although Dong Xianichen is from the Eastern Profound Heaven Pavilion, he is far inferior to Dong Xianjun. His status is also not very high. It is said that he is only an ordinary disciple of the Eastern Profound Heaven Pavilion. He came to the Blood Valley to gain experience this time because he was bullied by his fellow disciples. In a fit of anger, he left the Profound Heaven Pavilion and came to the Blood Valley. Qing Xian said slowly. Who would have thought that Dong Xianichen's limelight would far exceed Dong Xianjun's in the blood slaughter arena this time? His blood, evil Dharma body swept the blood slaughter arena in an invincible manner and won more than 50 battles in a row in more than 3,000 years. More than 50 battles in a row. Hearing such a shocking achievement, Su Fong was also dumbstruck. What is even more amazing is that when Dong Xianichen was about to be defeated in a battle on the blood slaughter arena, he swallowed a strange elixir and condensed the 15th slaughter mark on the spot. In the end, he defeated his opponent in one fell swoop. Su Fong was also shocked. To be able to condense 15 slaughter marks, this person is indeed a genius from the Eastern Profound Heaven Pavilion. What elixir did he swallow to have such an amazing effect? Qing Xian shook her head and said, Then there is no way to know. Then he sighed, There's also a genius from the Eastern Profound Heaven Pavilion, named Dong Xinchan. She's a pretty girl, but I didn't expect her to be so strong. She's so young, but she already has 12 slaughter marks. She's participated in more than 20 battles and only lost 3. The most amazing thing is that this girl also has Dong Xinichen's blood evil elixir, which is why she has such amazing results. The Eastern Profound Heaven Pavilion is indeed filled with geniuses. Su Fong thought of Dong Xinzheng and Dong Xinrong and felt the pressure in his heart. None of the geniuses from the Eastern Profound Heaven Pavilion were simple. Could that elixir be from the City Lord Mansion's Chamber of Commerce? Su Fong asked. He was somewhat unconvinced and wanted to find that elixir to compete with the blood evil elixir he refined. Qing Xian said, the reason why Dong Xinichen and Dong Xinchan could have such results is because they have a different blood evil elixir. Now all the cultivators in the second Killing Star City are asking about that elixir. Even the City Lord Mansion is alarmed and is looking for the alchemist who refined the blood evil elixir. It can be seen that the blood evil elixir is not from the City Lord Mansion. Su Fong was disappointed. I see. Young Master Su Fong, even if you don't have that strange blood evil elixir, with your strength, you will definitely amaze the world if you enter the blood slaughter arena. Young Master Su Fong has actually condensed 9 slaughter marks. Qing Xian exclaimed when she finally saw Su Fong's blood armor. It's only 9 slaughter marks. Su Fong did not have much of a complacent expression. Because Su Fong's blood evil avatar was more powerful than other cultivators, the blood evil aura was more vast. Therefore, it was more difficult to improve. If not for this, it would not be difficult for Su Fong to condense more than a dozen slaughter marks at this time. However, the massacre will attack released by Su Fong's 9 slaughter marks was extremely powerful. Other than the fact that his blood fury celestial body was strong, it was also because he had mastered the formation. He could use the 9 slaughter marks as a formation attack, increasing the power by several times. Qing Xian was shocked and flattered. Young Master Su Fong will definitely be able to smoothly pass the 100 blood battles and become a 2-star blood-killing general. Su Fong smiled faintly. There were some words he did not say. Su Fong's strength was already extraordinary. At this time, with the improvement of the blood evil Dharma body's strength, the extraordinary blood evil pill, and the mastery of the array, Su Fong's goal was no longer just to pass 100 bloody battles. It was to win every battle. As long as he won all the 100 blood battles on the blood slaughter platform, he would be able to obtain the blood slaughter token and be listed on the heavenly profound ranking. At that time, he would be able to walk out of the blood valley calmly. The experts from the 3 supreme profound sects would not be able to do anything to him. Su Fong said, Qing Xian, I called you here to ask you to help me choose an opponent. Qing Xian took out a rune talisman and held it in front of Su Fong with a divine power. In this rune talisman, there's a ranking of the blood slaughter platform in the last 10,000 years. As long as a cultivator has been on the blood slaughter platform, his information will be in the rune talisman. You can also directly challenge other cultivators through the rune talisman. Su Fongdao was happy. He grabbed the rune talisman and penetrated his magic power and consciousness into it. Qing Xian then explained patiently. Young Master can choose an opponent from the rune talisman and issue a challenge to them. Young Master is the first newcomer to the blood slaughter platform, so no one will refuse. Instead, they will rush to you. This time, Young Master can choose some weaker opponents at once. Su Fong asked, why is that? Qing Xian smiled and said, after you go on the blood slaughter platform and expose your strength, you can choose an opponent. The other party may not necessarily accept the challenge. However, it is not advisable to choose too many opponents at once. At most, there should be no more than 3 people. Otherwise, Young Master will be trapped in a battle of attrition, which is not good for Young Master. Su Fong nodded and said, I see. I understand. Qing Xian said again, I told Young Master before that when you go on the blood slaughter platform, it is best to disguise your appearance and change your name to avoid unnecessary trouble in the future. Thank you for your trouble, Miss Qing Xian. Su Fong grabbed a Xianguang with 500 blood evil stones and flew it to Qing Xian. Qing Xian was pleasantly surprised. She hadn't expected Su Fong to be so generous. Su Fong stared at Qin Xian, his tone becoming indifferent as he said, Miss Qin Xian, my Su Fong has always been clear about gratitude and grudges. In Second Star Slaughter City, if Miss Qin Xian can sincerely help me, my Su Fong will naturally not be stingy with some benefits. But if it is like last time, and you casually tell others about my matters, then don't blame my Su Fong for being impolite. Of course. Qin Xian's heart skipped a beat as she reluctantly smiled. After Qin Xian left, Su Fong closed his eyes and pondered for a while. Asterisk chi chi chi. Asterisk on his face, blood runes condensed from blood, evil, chi suddenly appeared, interweaving into a spirit array that covered his face. At this time, Su Fong looked like he was wearing a mask made of blood, making him look quite ugly. However, Su Fong didn't care much about it. He was going to the blood slaughter arena to gain experience and kill people. Who would care about his appearance? The mask on his face was condensed from a spirit array by Su Fong's primordial spirit avatar, and it had the ability to distort the primordial spirit. Unless it was an expert surpassing the Tao Lord realm, it was impossible to see his true appearance. My name is Luo Tian. Su Fong thought of the Luo Tian wheel, so he casually gave himself such a pseudonym. Then, Su Fong took out a rune talisman, carefully analyzed it, and finally chose the person he wanted to challenge. However, he didn't follow Qin Xian's suggestion to choose 3 people at once. Instead, he chose 20 people at once. He had extraordinary blood evil pills, so he naturally wouldn't consume them on the blood slaughter arena, so he didn't mind taking turns to fight. He locked his consciousness onto the names of the participants. Blood Meteor I Luo Tian, challenge you. Tian Kuei, Luo Tian challenges you. Chapter 27:15. In a pavilion in the Second Star Slaughter City, a bald man was sitting cross-legged in cultivation. With a flip of his right hand, a rune talisman appeared in his hand. A red light shot out from the rune talisman and turned into a figure. A cold voice sounded, Mad Thunder, I, All Heaven, challenge you. All Heaven? Who is All Heaven? The bald man penetrated the rune talisman with his consciousness. The cultivators in the rune talisman had all left their records on the blood slaughter platform. Su Fong had never been on the blood slaughter platform, so his name couldn't be found in the information. The bald man sneered with disdain, his killing intent soaring. A nobody who has never been on the blood slaughter platform dares to challenge me. Mad Thunder? In Star Slaughter City, there will always be people who seek death. I, Mad Thunder, accept your challenge. A thought fell on the figure, and the figure flashed, turning into a red light that drilled into the rune talisman and disappeared. Near the City Lord's mansion in the Second Star Slaughter City, there was a blood-colored mountain peak. There were many cave mansions on the mountain peak. Those who could live in these cave mansions were all wealthy cultivators. In one of the cave mansions, a slender and handsome cultivator was choosing a challenger from the rune talisman. Buzz! The rune talisman trembled, and a red light flashed from it, turning into Su Fong's figure. In Rakshasa, I, All Heaven, challenge you. All Heaven! The handsome cultivator revealed a fiendish grin. An ant who has just entered Star Slaughter City dares to challenge me? My 17th victory will depend on you. A thought flashed from between the handsome cultivator's eyebrows and fell on Su Fong's figure. Almost the same scene played out in different pavilions and cave mansions in the first Star Slaughter City. The 20 opponents that Su Fong had chosen all happily agreed when they saw that Su Fong had never been on the blood slaughter platform. These cultivators thought that a big pie had fallen from the sky. No, it should be a soft persimmon that had fallen from the sky. The Second Star Slaughter City's blood slaughter platform was different from the first Star Slaughter City. One could not enter the blood slaughter platform at any time. Instead, it only opened once every 100 years. There was still more than 30 years until the next opening of the blood slaughter stage. After Su Fong issued the challenge, he sat down cross-legged in meditation, waiting for the arrival of the great battle. When Su Fong opened his eyes again, more than 30 years had passed. Su Fong went to the second floor of the pavilion. In a room on the second floor, there was a small, profound door. One could directly enter the space of the blood slaughter arena through this profound door. Su Fong stepped into the matrix, and a burst of spatial distortion enveloped him. Then, he disappeared from the pavilion. When he reappeared, he was already in a blood-red space. It was very similar to the blood slaughter stage of the first Star Slaughter City. The blood slaughter stage of the second Star Slaughter City wasn't too large. Above this space was a crimson star that illuminated the entirety of Star Slaughter City, releasing a crimson halo that covered the entire space-time. Dense killing intent and baleful aura permeated the air, making people unable to help but crazily think of killing. Bloody killings and crazy illusions of women flashed through their minds. In the center of space-time, a blood-red substance floated. This was the blood slaughter stage where the trial takers fought. Around the blood slaughter arena, there were rows of thrones arranged in a circle around the blood slaughter arena. These were obviously prepared for the trial challengers. Su Fong saw that many cultivators had already taken their seats in the back row, but the front rows were empty. So, he walked toward the front row and sat down in the third row. Shwa shwa shwa. Su Fong's actions immediately attracted a few astonished gazes. The cultivators in the back row were surprised at first, but they soon revealed looks of ridicule. However, no one said anything to Su Fong, waiting to watch a good show. Su Fong didn't notice this at all. He sat cross-legged on his throne, quietly waiting for the bloody battle to begin. After waiting for more than an hour, more and more cultivators entered the space of the blood slaughter stage through the profound door. The number of people was far less than the number on the blood slaughter stage of the first Star Slaughter City. There were only about 300 or 400 people. There weren't many trial takers who could enter the second Star Slaughter City to begin with. Moreover, not all trial takers would come to watch the battles every time the space of the blood slaughter stage opened, unless an expert ranked at the top appeared. Kid, do you want me to break your legs and throw you out? Or do you want to crawl away on your own? A murderous voice suddenly resounded by Su Fong's ears. Su Fong opened his eyes and saw a burly man wearing a devil mask standing in front of the throne. The man was looking at him with a sharp gaze. Shwa shwa shwa. All the cultivators in the space of the blood slaughter stage looked over. Su Fong scanned the large man with divine light, and he sensed that this person's cultivation had shockingly reached the lower Dalord realm. Moreover, the blood-red armor on his body was densely covered in blood markings, and there were actually over 20 slaughter marks on the Star Slaughter diagram. This person's aura seemed to be extremely violent, and his killing intent and baleful aura was oppressive. Moreover, it even revealed a strand of ferocity. It was as if he just crawled out from a pile of corpses. An expert. This person was absolutely a formidable expert. Even the genius from the Eastern Profound Heavenly Pavilion, Dong Xianichen, had only condensed over a dozen slaughter marks. However, this person possessed over 20 slaughter marks, and it was sufficient to show how shocking his strength was. However, Dong Xianichen had just arrived at the second slaughter city not long ago, and this man was obviously an old man who'd been here for hundreds of thousands of years. So, the two of them couldn't be compared. What's the matter? Su Fong asked indifferently, while his blood-red armor emanated a baleful aura that shattered the pressure emanated by the large man. The large man grunted. I'm called Man Ba. Man Ba. So what? The large man's eyes revealed a ferocious glow. I'm ranked 18th on the blood slaughter stage in the second slaughter city, Su Fong said with surprise. Even if you're ranked first, what does that have to do with me? The large man called Man Ba shouted angrily. You've taken my throne. Su Fong was even more surprised. This throne is yours? You bought this throne? Man Ba was furious. The thrones below the blood slaughter stage are arranged according to the ranking. The throne under your but belongs to me. Su Fong finally understood. No wonder no one sat on the front row. It turned out that it was arranged according to the ranking. But so what? Su Fong said coldly. Is this the rule of the Blood Valley? Man Ba was startled. No, Su Fong asked again. Then it must be the rule of the city lord's mansion? Of course not, Su Fong said domineeringly. If that's the case, how can you be so sure that this throne is yours? Even if it's really your throne, I all heaven have already sat on it. So what? Man-Ba's eyes burned with bloody flames as he said fiercely, "Brat, you've taken my throne, yet you're still so arrogant. Are you planning to challenge me?" Su Fong said casually, "I'll challenge you in the future, but not now. Scram, this throne is mine today." Man-Ba's body surged with monstrous, murderous intent. However, in the next moment, an astonishing shackle descended from the Blood Star and crushed Man-Ba's momentum. In the blood slaughter stage, except on the stage, one had to fight outside, otherwise they would be ruthlessly suppressed. No matter how arrogant Man-Ba was, no matter how strong he was, he didn't dare to attack Su Fong. He stared at Su Fong fiercely. "You're called All Heaven, right? Wait until I get out of here. I'll skin you alive. I'll be waiting." Su Fong smiled disdainfully and closed his eyes again. Man-Ba was at his wit's end and could only leave in embarrassment. Who is that brat? He dares to provoke Man-Ba? It seems he's a newcomer who doesn't know the difference between life and death. Once he leaves the blood slaughter stage, it would be strange if Man-Ba didn't tear him apart. That brat is hiding his identity. Even if he leaves the blood slaughter stage, what can Man-Ba do to him? Second, Star Slaughter City is only so big. That brat will be found sooner or later. Moreover, he might randomly encounter him on the blood slaughter stage. At that time, only death awaits him. Everyone discussed animatedly, looking at Su Fong's eyes like they were looking at a dead man. Another 2 hours passed. From the blood star in the sky, a bloody light fell and enveloped the blood slaughter stage. This time's battle on the blood slaughter stage was finally about to begin. Whoosh! A bearded cultivator was the first to jump onto the blood slaughter stage and shouted, "Who is Tong Zhengtian? Get up here for this king." As soon as his voice fell, a young man jumped onto the blood slaughter stage. A battle of life and death unfolded between the two cultivators. Both of them were at the peak of the Tao Lord realm and were one-star divine slaughter generals. Although their strength seemed to be equal, it was actually not the case. On the blood slaughter stage, the strength the Blood Fiend avatar could display far surpassed other avatars. The bearded cultivator's blood armor had 11 slash marks on the star slaughter pattern, while the young man only had 9. The two of them fought with their thoughts. The will of slaughter and the murderous aura collided again and again. In the end, the young man was firmly suppressed. The bearded cultivator condensed a thought sword chi with his murderous aura and heavily injured his Tao heart. The Blood Fiend avatar was also heavily injured and could not get up. Kill him. Kill. 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 Below the blood slaughter stage, the sound of killing shook the sky. All the cultivators fell into a state of madness, their eyes filled with killing intent. Su Fong's emotions were also controlled by the murderous intent, but he quickly reacted. His Tao heart shook and released rays of multicolored light, dispelling the murderous intent in his heart. Go to hell. The bearded cultivator became even crazier. He grabbed the young man in his hand and tore the young man's blood fiend avatar and physical body in half. Blood splattered all over the blood slaughter stage. Spare me. The young man only had one avatar left, and he fled from the blood slaughter stage. The bearded cultivator released a thought that turned into a blood wheel and crushed the young man's avatar. On the blood slaughter stage of the second Slaughter Star City, as long as one side admitted defeat, the other side could obtain victory without killing the other. However, as soon as one stepped on the blood slaughter stage, they would be completely controlled by the murderous intent. How could they stop? Therefore, on the blood slaughter stage, the vast majority of battles would end with one side being killed. Very few people could survive. Generally speaking, the opponents of disciples from large forces would not be so ruthless as to kill them. In addition, they would have life-saving methods. Su Fong witnessed the cruel scene on the blood slaughter stage, but his eyes remained calm. This was the Blood Valley. Since one entered the Blood Valley to gain experience, they had to be prepared to die. As soon as the first battle ended, another cultivator jumped onto the blood slaughter stage. Chapter 27:16. That arrogant brat dares to challenge Mad Thunder. Mad Thunder may not have won many matches, only 9 in total, but this person is famous for his insanity. He never leaves anyone alive. Does this Luo Tian have some background? Otherwise, how could he dare to challenge Mad Thunder? That brat is definitely not simple. Look at the killing scars on his blood armor. There are 9 of them. He can condense 9 killing scars without a single battle. This shows how deep his background is. He must be from a major force in Dongxian. What's the use of condensing more killing scars for a cultivator who hasn't experienced actual combat? Don't look at Mad Thunder's 7 killing scars. He can definitely kill that brat. I don't like that brat wearing such an ugly mask. He's dead for sure this time. Below the Sanguine Slaughter Arena, there was a flurry of discussion. Someone took out a talisman to check Su Fong's record. In the end, Luo Tian's name couldn't be found in the data. This meant that he was a newbie who had never entered the Sanguine Slaughter Arena before. Such a character dared to challenge Mad Thunder. Everyone felt it was inconceivable. Man Ba, whose throne Su Fong had snatched away, shouted at the Sanguine Slaughter Arena, "Mad Thunder, give this seat some face. Don't kill that brat later. This seat will personally twist off his head and let his soul be tormented by this seat's killing intent for eternity." Mad Thunder laughed wildly. "Lord Man Ba, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. When I, Mad Thunder, make a move, I never leave anyone alive. This time will be no exception. However, I will strip his soul and hand it to you." Man Ba nodded. "That's fine. This seat owes you a favor." The two of them communicated in front of everyone without the slightest scruple, completely treating Su Fong as a dead man. Su Fong came to the bottom of the Sanguine Slaughter Arena and leaped onto it. The audience began to discuss. "How long do you think this brat can last under Mad Thunder's hands? I bet 100 blood fiend stones that this brat can last no more than an incense stick's worth of time." An incense stick's worth of time? Mad Thunder is simply a madman. If that brat can last 10 breaths under his hands, I'm willing to bet 200 blood fiend stones. I bet that brat can't last 5 breaths. As usual, some cultivators placed bets on Su Fong, betting on how long Su Fong could last. "Kid, I only need 3 breaths to take your head." Mad Thunder looked at Su Fong, grinning ferociously. "1 breath." Su Fong raised a finger. Mad Thunder laughed wildly. "You have too little confidence in yourself. Why don't you kneel down and beg for mercy? I'll let you die a quick death." Su Fong shook his head and said, "You misunderstood me. I only need 1 breath to deal with you." The audience roared with laughter. This brat was too arrogant, so arrogant that he was no different from an idiot. "Madman, you're courting death." Mad Thunder was enraged by Su Fong's words. He let out an angry roar, and a strong, murderous aura surged out of his body, creating a thunderous sound. His murderous intent shrouded Su Fong in an instant. Chi! 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 The 9 slashes on Su Fong's blood armor suddenly shot out an astonishing murderous aura, which instantly turned into murderous sword chi and condensed into an array. The murderous sword array flashed out, tearing apart Mad Thunder's attack and sweeping across Mad Thunder's blood demon avatar. Puff! Mad Thunder's blood demon avatar and physical body were torn in 2 by the sword array. His Dao heart was also destroyed by the murderous intent contained in the sword array. Losing the blood demon avatar was not fatal, but having one's Dao heart broken was quite fatal for a cultivator. Mad Thunder's Dao heart was broken, and his avatar was also severely injured. It was difficult to escape and was directly obliterated by the sword array. Mad Thunder was dead. This meant that Su Fong had won the first round. The time from start to finish was not more or less just 1 breath. At first, many cultivators below the stage did not realize that the outcome of the battle had been decided on the stage. It was not until a bloody light descended from the bloody star in the sky, enveloping Su Fong and cleansing his blood demon avatar, that they realized what had happened. How could that kid be so useless? He couldn't even last 3 breaths? He boasted so loudly, but his strength was so weak. I even lost so many blood demon stones for nothing. The discussion gradually quieted down, and finally, the entire blood slaughter stage fell into a dead silence. The one who had died was not Su Fong, but Mad Thunder. After a brief silence, a burst of exclamations echoed in the space like thunder. Impossible! Unbelievable! Many people did not even see how Mad Thunder died, and the battle on the stage was already over. It was not until Su Fong finished his marrow cleansing that everyone had to accept the reality that the one who had died was Mad Thunder. Man Boss snorted coldly. Well, Mad Thunder didn't kill that kid. Just leave him to me. On the blood slaughter stage, Su Fong looked down at the murderous star pattern on his blood armor and found that the 10th slash mark was about to condense. After this marrow cleansing, the blood demon avatar had also improved significantly. He could not help but be overjoyed. Then Su Fong reached out and sucked Mad Thunder's corpse into his body space. Mad Thunder's blood demon avatar was the cultivation material Su Fong used to improve his blood demon avatar. There must be a lot of treasures in his storage ring, so Su Fong naturally would not let them go. Then Su Fong looked down at the blood slaughter stage and said in a voice full of killing intent, "Shuel Liuxing, it's your turn." Every time the blood slaughter stage opened, as long as a cultivator stepped on the stage, they must complete all the previous challenges in one go. They could not leave the blood slaughter stage midway. Moreover, the second challenge was Star Slaughter City's blood slaughter stage. Once a cultivator accepted a challenge, they must accept it. Otherwise, the consequences would be very serious. Not only would they lose a battle, but they would also be directly obliterated by the Blood Valley's will. When Shuel Liuxing accepted Su Fong's challenge, he thought he had picked up a big bargain. But who would have thought? After seeing Su Fong kill Mad Thunder, Shuel Liuxing realized that not only was there no bargain to pick up, but a disaster was imminent. Hearing Su Fong call his name, Shuel Liuxing trembled on his throne. He braced himself and jumped onto the blood slaughter stage. "Brother Luo Tian, please show mercy." Shuel Liuxing cupped his fists towards Su Fong. Just as Su Fong was about to clasp his fists to return the gesture, a thought suddenly flashed out from the bloody meteor's forehead. It transformed into a fist-sized bloody meteor, exuding a terrifying aura of slaughter and blood as it shot towards Su Fong. Courting death, lines of blood appeared on Su Fong's blood armor, forming a powerful defense. Boom! The blood-colored star struck Su Fong, causing Su Fong to stumble back. Cracks appeared on his blood armor. A powerful killing intent that specifically targeted the Dao Heart passed through the blood armor's defense and struck Su Fong's Dao Heart. Fortunately, Su Fong had a jade-colored Dao Heart. It wasn't something an ordinary Dao Heart attack could break. His Dao Heart only trembled for a moment before shattering Shuel Liuxing's will attack. Shuel Liuxing thought that this attack was in the bag, but he didn't expect that Su Fong would only suffer some damage to his blood armor. The sinister smile that had just appeared on his face instantly froze. Despicable! Su Fong coldly snorted. Blood chi surged out of the blood fiend art, and the cracks on his blood armor rapidly healed. "Brother Luo Tian, let me explain." As Shuel Liuxing shouted, the blood fiend art ignited with a blood-colored light. His body shot through the blood slaughter stage like a meteor. Die! Su Fong sent out strands of blood fiend chi into the blood slaughter stage's space. Strands of blood fiend chi rapidly intertwined, forming a formation that slowly suppressed Shuel Liuxing's range of movement. When Shuel Liuxing was confined to a small area, the 9 slash scars on Su Fong's blood armor erupted with sword energy again. They turned into a sword formation that swept towards Shuel Liuxing. The sword formation enveloped Shuel Liuxing in an instant. Shuel Liuxing had nowhere to run, and after the time it took to burn a stick of incense, he was killed by the sword formation. Another victory. It was only now that the cultivators below the stage saw that Su Fong had used a formation attack. They were all shocked and surprised. A formation attack wasn't a powerful ability, but to turn blood fiend chi into a formation and use the murderous aura of the Star of Slaughter as a sword formation attack was definitely not something an ordinary cultivator could do. Ordinary cultivators could at most transform the murderous aura of the Star of Slaughter into various forms. In terms of power, it was far inferior to his sword formation. I misjudged him. This kid is definitely not simple. Does anyone know which major force in Dongxian is proficient in formation attacks? Almost every cultivator in the Eastern Profound Divine Realm has mastered formations. But to be able to use a formation attack in the state of the Blood Fiend art is extremely rare in the Eastern Profound Divine Realm. Could this person be from the Northern Profound Divine region? Amidst the crowd's discussion, Su Fong was once again cleansed by the blood evil qi. When the marrow cleansing was complete, a silver-gray light suddenly erupted from his blood armor. Another Slayer mark finally formed on the Star of Slaughter pattern. Su Fong's eyes flashed with a bloody light. He looked down at the blood slaughter platform and said domineeringly, "Tian Kuei, it's your turn. Oomph, do you think you can run amok on the blood slaughter arena just because you know some spirit arrays?" A long-haired cultivator jumped onto the blood slaughter stage and coldly shouted as he looked at Su Fong. "Chi! Chi!" A blood-colored light surged out from the long-haired cultivator's body to swiftly condense into 9 fist-sized blood-colored beads. The beads released blood-colored xianguang to form a defensive array, which enveloped the long-haired cultivator. The long-haired cultivator said proudly, "This seat's 9 blood evil beads are an upper-grade xianguang that I bought at a high price from the second star of Slaughter City's Chamber of Commerce. It can be activated with blood evil stones. Not only can it defend against your divine art attacks, it can even defend against thought attacks. No matter how powerful your formation attacks are, no matter how strong your blood evil qi is, what can you do to me?" Then he said domineeringly, "This seat is already in an invincible position, while you can only passively take a beating. You will die sooner or later. If you admit defeat now, this seat will not kill you, nor will I destroy your blood evil qi. Since you only want to win this battle and have no intention of killing me, I will spare your life." Su Fong said majestically, like the supreme ruler of the blood slaughter stage's life and death. Then, Su Fong waved his hand and sent out a mysterious purple energy. It instantly turned into a large purple hand and grabbed at the long-haired cultivator. Buzz! Buzz! Chapter 27:17. What kind of ability is this? It can actually control my Xianbao. The long-haired cultivator, Tian Kuei, was shocked. He quickly focused all of his energy on controlling the Xianbao. At this time, Su Fong stepped forward. A fierce, murderous aura shot out from his blood armor, transforming into a sword array that attacked the long-haired cultivator's Xianbao defense. Although the long-haired cultivator's Xianbao was extraordinary under the control of Su Fong's purple fate avatar, it had almost changed hands. The power it could display was naturally limited. Under the astonishing attack of the sword array, the defense shattered and the sword array instantly enveloped him. "I said I would spare your life. Will you admit defeat or die?" Su Fong shouted domineeringly. At this time, he only needed to move his mind, and the sword array would kill the long-haired cultivator's blood fate avatar. "I admit defeat. I admit defeat. Thank you, Lord Luo Tian, for sparing my life." The long-haired cultivator cupped his fists and bowed to Su Fong. Although he had lost unjustly, being able to leave the blood slaughter arena unscathed was a pleasant surprise. Like this, Su Fong obtained his 3rd victory. He won. He actually won again. So what if he won 3 matches in a row? He only relied on his mastery of array formations and that strange ability to control magic treasures. This isn't his true strength. No one died this time. How boring. Luo Tian was able to let his opponent go after winning. It can be seen that he hasn't lost his mind because of the slaughter. It shows how strong his Dao heart and will are. This person is extraordinary, very extraordinary. It seems that after Dongxian Jun and Dongxian Ichen of the Eastern Profound Heaven Pavilion, another peerless genius will rise in the second star Slaughter City. Everyone below the arena thought that Su Fong's experience in the blood slaughter arena had come to an end. There was a lot of discussion about Su Fong, but the opinions were mixed. Some people thought that Su Fong's true strength was actually ordinary. This was not surprising. Although Su Fong was in the Blood Fade avatar state, and it was difficult to see through his specific cultivation, judging from his aura, his cultivation realm was not high. Naturally, no one was optimistic about him. Moreover, in the Blood Slaughter arena, it was common for someone to win 3 matches in a row. Today was the first time Su Fong had entered the Blood Slaughter arena, and he had won 3 matches. Although this was extraordinary, it wasn't too shocking. However, some of the sharp-eyed cultivators were able to see that Su Fong was no ordinary person. Thus, they engraved the name Luo Tian in their minds. Who knows, they might end up fighting him in the future. After an incense stick, after Su Fong finished cleansing his marrow with a blood-killing aura, everyone thought that he was going to step down from the stage. Some cultivators were already preparing to challenge him. Su Fong stood on the Blood Slaughter stage with his hands clasped behind his back as he spoke in a domineering tone. Ching Fong, come up. Of Luo, Why? Generally speaking, cultivators who entered the Blood Slaughter arena for the first time would at most choose 3 opponents at a time and try to win 3 matches. Any more, and the huge consumption would be unbearable. Although the Blood Fade avatar could improve its strength, it couldn't recover the consumption. Not only that, but because the Blood Fade avatar became more vast, it became more empty. Su Fong had won 3 matches, but he still wanted to continue. This was quite unusual, unless he had enough confidence in the strength of his other avatars. On the Blood Slaughter arena, other avatars were suppressed. Generally, cultivators would use their Blood Fate avatar or fuse 2 avatars together. Very few would use 1 avatar alone, or they had a method to quickly restore their Blood Fate avatar. This situation was generally unlikely, unless they had a high-grade Blood Fate pill with the quality of a 6-vein pill or higher. Ching Feng was a sword cultivator. His strength was extraordinary, but compared to Mad Thunder and Shuel Yoshing, he was slightly inferior. He used the Tao of Sword and fused it with a Blood Fate avatar. Although his offensive was fierce, it was still inferior to Su Fong's sword array. He lasted less than an incense stick's worth of time before admitting defeat. This person was wise. He saw that Su Fong wasn't a bloodthirsty person and took the initiative to admit defeat. Su Fong didn't continue to pursue him and let him leave the Blood Slaughter arena. The 5th match, Su Fong fought 10 matches in a row and won all 10 matches. Within the space of the Blood Slaughter stage, there was an uproar from time to time. But as time passed, everyone was completely numb to this, and the audience was completely silent. Winning 10 matches in a row wasn't unheard of in the history of Second Star Slaughter City's Blood Slaughter arena, but it was rare. Those who could win 10 matches in a row were all peerless geniuses who would shake a region in the future. People had realized that another peerless genius had risen on the Blood Slaughter arena under their witness. Some cultivators took out rune talismans and recorded Su Fong's every match on the Blood Slaughter arena. In the Second Star Slaughter City's Blood Slaughter arena, some peerless geniuses were so strong that no one dared to accept their challenge. In the end, the Blood Slaughter arena would randomly pick an opponent to fight with. Therefore, every cultivator had the chance to fight with a peerless genius. Because of this, such peerless geniuses would become the object of everyone's research. Just the recording of a battle between a peerless genius could be sold for a lot of blood evil stones. Some geniuses also took out rune talismans to transmit the scenes of Su Fong's battles to the Blood Slaughter arena. The Second Star Slaughter City's City Lord Mansion. In a palace deep in the Blood Slaughter City, the young girl who had bought the blood evil pill from Su Fong was sitting cross-legged in the palace's array with the young cultivator. Buzz, there was suddenly a movement in the young girl's body. She waved her hand and took out a rune talisman. After sensing it, the young girl's face revealed a shocked expression. The young cultivator opened his eyes and raised his eyebrows. Xiaochan, you're distracted again. The young girl named Xiaochan waved her hand and rolled the rune talisman to the young cultivator. Senior brother, look, another genius has appeared on the Blood Slaughter arena. This person will probably be your opponent. Is that so? In the Second Star Slaughter City, There aren't many cultivators who are qualified to be my opponent, except for Dongxian Jun. The young cultivator smiled carelessly and grabbed the rune talisman. In an instant, the young cultivator's eyes suddenly lit up. He clicked his tongue and sighed. It's his first time entering the blood slaughter arena, but he actually won 10 battles in a row? Not simple. I didn't expect such a genius to appear in the second star slaughter city. This person is indeed qualified to be my opponent. Xiaochan smiled before frowning slightly. If you can find that poor cultivator and buy some strange pills, senior brother, you might be able to surpass Dongxian Jun. When you return to Heaven Pavilion in the future, you won't be bullied by those people anymore. What poor cultivator? Dongxian Yichen smiled helplessly. You used 10,000 blood demon pills to exchange for so many pills. You took advantage of him. When he sees you, he will hide far away. As he spoke, the light in Dongxian Yichen's eyes suddenly changed. Xiaochan asked in surprise, "Senior brother, what happened?" Dongxian Yichen gave the rune talisman to Xiaochan and sighed. That cultivator called All Heaven is still continuing after winning 10 battles in a row. Amazing, truly amazing. I want to see how many battles he can win in a row. Inside a luxurious palace in the center of the city lord's mansion, a young man was chatting happily with a middle-aged man in luxurious clothes. The young man was handsome and had a calm and easygoing manner. At first glance, one could tell that he was an extraordinary person from a great force. The middle-aged man in luxurious clothes talking to him was the city lord of the second star slaughter city. The young man was actually on the same level as the city lord. Moreover, the city lord was very careful in front of him. It was enough to show how amazing this person's identity was. Suddenly, the city lord raised his eyebrows. The young man asked indifferently, "What's the matter?" The city lord chuckled. "A genius has appeared on the blood slaughter arena. It's his first time on the blood slaughter arena. After winning 10 battles in a row, he's still continuing to challenge." The young man smiled lightly. "He's just playing to the gallery." The city lord nodded and said, "No matter how outstanding a genius is, he's not worth mentioning compared to young Master Jun," the young man said. "I'll wait for another 10,000 years. If no powerful figure appears, I'll have to go to the third star slaughter city. I heard that Ling Xingqian of the three supreme mysterious sects is in the third star slaughter city. I hope he lives up to his reputation." The city lord said respectfully, "Young Master Jun of Dongxian will definitely win 100 battles, obtain the blood slaughter token, and enter the heavenly profound ranking." The young man shook his head and smiled. "That's just an empty reputation. It's meaningless. As for the heavenly profound ranking, I've already entered the heavenly profound ranking, so I don't care about it. I just hope to meet an interesting opponent." On the blood slaughter arena, Su Feng welcomed his 11th opponent. This time, his opponent was none other than Chu Feng. When Su Feng was choosing his opponent, the first person he thought of was Chu Feng. He wanted to use this opportunity to get rid of Chu Feng. "Luo Tian, you've Lian Zhan for 10 battles. I won't take advantage of you. I'll give you 6 hours to recover." Chu Feng looked at Su Feng, looking as if he didn't care about this battle at all. Young Master Chu Feng is really generous. Su Feng snorted disdainfully. With the consumption of the blood slaughter avatar, what was the use of a mere 6 hours? Unless he had a powerful method to recover quickly. Chu Feng deliberately made such a gesture. It seemed like he was being generous, but it was equivalent to not saying anything. Chu Feng continued, "It seems that you've misunderstood. In that case, I promise that no matter the result of this battle, I won't kill you." Su Feng sneered and ridiculed mercilessly. "It seems that you've also realized that as long as you don't have killing intent toward me, I won't kill you. You're planning to leave yourself a way out, aren't you? The disciples of the three supreme profound sects don't have much strength, but I can't help but admire their scheming." Chu Feng's face darkened, and he snorted coldly. "Luo Tian, I've been respectful to you because your talent is extraordinary and you're not a bloodthirsty person. Yet, you don't know what's good for you." Su Feng sneered and said, "I, Luo Tian, will never greet a disciple of the three supreme profound sects with a smile. Since you're on the blood slaughter arena, your life and death are in my hands. Die. When the cultivators below the arena heard Su Fang's words, they were all very surprised. Generally speaking, disciples from large forces like the three supreme profound sects did not need to hide their identities on the blood slaughter arena. Their opponents had no choice but to be wary of them. Very few of them would kill them. Chapter 27:18. How dare you look down on the three highest mysterious sects? I wanted to befriend you because of your extraordinary talent, but it seems there's no need for that now. Look down on the sect and humiliate me. Die. Chu Feng burst out with a monstrous killing aura, and the killing star pattern on his blood armor flashed. On the killing star pattern, a total of 8 slayer marks shone together and condensed into a lifelike white tiger. Roar! The white tiger phantom let out an earth-shattering roar and pounced towards Su Feng. His killing aura was monstrous. It's only 8 slayer marks. Su Feng's eyes were full of disdain. QL11 back in a black market, Su Feng had yet to condense a single slayer mark. Chu Feng, on the other hand, had 3 slayer marks. Just his killing aura alone was enough to suppress Su Feng. The river flows east for 30 years, and the river flows west for 30 years. Before Su Feng entered the bloody slaughter arena, he already had 9 slayer marks. He won 10 consecutive battles on the bloody slaughter arena and successfully condensed 2 more slayer marks. Now, he had a total of 11 slayer marks. Chu Feng, on the other hand, had only managed to condense 8 slayer marks with the help of the sect's power in the second Killing Star City. Now, the two of them had completely switched positions. Chu Feng was being crushed by Su Feng. Moreover, Su Feng could turn the aura released by the slayer marks into a sword array, making the attack even more powerful. Chi! 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 The 11 slayer marks burst out with 11 killing auras and turned into a sword array. The white tiger that Chu Feng had transformed and was like a piece of paper in front of Su Feng's sword array. It collapsed upon contact and was instantly crushed into pieces. The sword array's remaining power did not diminish as it charged toward Chu Feng with unstoppable momentum. Chu Feng was about to be swallowed by the sword array. His blood demon avatar surged with the power of time and swept out in all directions, causing the sword array's attack to suddenly slow down. Chu Feng took the opportunity to take a step forward and used the great Tao of space ability. In an instant, he was thousands of feet away and avoided Su Feng's sword array. Although your blood demon, celestial body's strength surpasses mine, I am from the 3 supreme mysterious sects and possess supreme divine abilities. Even if I don't use the blood demon celestial body, I can still suppress you. Chu Feng shouted domineeringly. The space between his brows split open and a figure flashed out. He had actually released his Dharma body. Whoosh! Chu Feng's doppelganger released a thought and crossed the sky in an instant. It directly ignored the constraints of time and space as the power of time enveloped Su Feng. In a split second, the flow of time around Su Feng became sluggish. Even the operation of his thoughts became rigid and slow under the influence of Chu Feng's will. Immediately after, Chu Feng's doppelganger stepped into the air and flew towards Su Feng with a godly might that could break through the void. Su Feng grabbed out streaks of blood fiend chi and then hit the surroundings. However, under the influence of the power of time, everything seemed to slow down. Moreover, it seemed to be aimless and couldn't pose any threat to Chu Feng. Under my supreme divine ability, your blood demon, celestial body, is useless. Obediently accept your death. Chu Feng's doppelganger sneered complacently and struck out a shocking seal. It turned into a turbulent river that contained the power of time. Any life or divine ability would be quickly exhausted under the impact of the river. Boom! The river crashed onto an invisible barrier and actually couldn't attack Su Feng. It turned out that Su Feng's seemingly disorderly attacks had actually created a formation around him. Chu Feng's expression changed instantly. Formation? You're actually a formation master. Didn't you say that the slaughter demon celestial body couldn't do anything to you? Su Feng sneered. The blood fiend chi in his body suddenly erupted and quickly wiped out the power of time around him. Immediately after, Su Fong struck out dazzling hand seals and streaks of blood fiend. Chi fell into the space of the blood slaughter arena. Form. Su Fong suddenly put his palms together. The formation suddenly operated. The blood-red star above the blood slaughter arena suddenly darkened and shot down a beam of blood-red light that swept toward Chu Fong. Su Fong actually created a formation and activated the power of the blood-red star to attack Chu Fong. "Stop, I admit defeat." Chu Fong and his doppelganger exclaimed at the same time and admitted defeat to Su Fong. However, Su Fong was determined to kill him. How could he let him go so easily? Chu Feng's doppelganger used the great Tao of space ability and was about to escape into the air. However, it was swept up by the divine power of the formation and was instantly obliterated. Chu Feng's physical body and blood demon, celestial body, were shackled by the divine power of the formation. Su Feng's cold voice sounded. "Chu Feng, you didn't expect this day to come, did you?" This time, Su Feng didn't hide his voice. Chu Feng was stunned at first, and then immediately became dumbfounded. You are Su Feng." Su Feng's voice continued to sound. "Yes, I am Su Feng." Chu Feng flatly denied it. "Impossible. You're just a slave from a low-level world. You don't have any backing. How could you have such amazing strength in such a short time in the second Slaughter City? How could you know what I, Su Feng, am capable of? You come from the three highest profound sects and think you are an extraordinary genius. You can look down on others. Haha, in the first Slaughter City, you actually used pills to buy my corpse. How ridiculous. In my eyes, that Ling Xingqian is just a clown, let alone you. There is no enmity between us. I was just instigated by Ling Xingqian to attack you. Spare me, and I am willing to cooperate with you to deal with Ling Xingqian. Do I need your cooperation with a mere Ling Xingqian? Even the experts from the three highest profound sects who are chasing me will be killed by me sooner or later." Su Feng shouted domineeringly. The divine power of the array erupted like a tide and engulfed Chu Feng. Just like that, Chu Feng, a genius from the three highest profound sects, used his life to obtain Su Feng's 11th victory. Ruthless. That Luo Tian is too ruthless. He didn't even let off a disciple of the three highest profound sects. He's really happy now. Chu Feng is also an extraordinary disciple in the supreme three profound sect. How could the sect let the matter rest when he was killed just like that? Those big powers are just so shameless. They can kill people without restraint in the Blood Valley. If one of their people is killed, they will not rest until they die. Below the blood slaughter arena, there was an uproar again. The news of Su Feng obtaining 11 consecutive victories and Chu Feng's death quickly spread throughout the space of the blood slaughter arena. The three highest profound sects had interests in the second Slaughter City, so they had experts overseeing it. After receiving this news, they immediately used all their forces to investigate Luo Tian's background. On the blood slaughter arena, Su Feng put away Chu Feng's corpse. While accepting the purification of the blood fiendish aura, he checked Chu Feng's storage ring. In Chu Feng's storage ring, Su Feng made a pleasant discovery. Chu Feng's wealth was not small, but those blood fiend stones, pills, Xianbao, and other resources were not in Su Feng's eyes. What surprised Su Feng was that in Chu Feng's storage ring, Su Feng found a jade slip that stored the three highest profound sects' peerless cultivation technique and divine ability. There was a complete cultivation technique in the jade slip, and it was the Great Tao of Time. As long as he mastered the Great Tao of Time, Su Feng would be able to regain the heaven-defying divine ability, which was equivalent to having another trump card. Naturally, he was overjoyed. He carefully put away the jade slip. He would slowly study it in the future. After an incense stick of time, Su Feng completed the purification. There are still 9 bloody battles left. Su Feng's gaze flitted across the cultivators below the blood slaughter arena. Without waiting for him to speak, a figure jumped onto the blood slaughter arena with a whoosh. This person did not cover his face like most of the cultivators. It was a slender and handsome young man. The young man looked at Su Feng with gloomy eyes. "Luo Tian, I, the Shade Rakshasa, have come to accept your challenge. Shade Rakshasa. This Shade Rakshasa was indeed one of the 20 targets Su Fong had chosen to challenge. He did not expect him to take the initiative to come on stage. Su Fong shook his head. You have a record of 16 victories. I thought you were a powerful genius, but the result has disappointed me. The Shade Rakshasa raised his eyebrows. Could it be that you're afraid and want to go back on your word? You've already challenged me. It's too late to go back on your word now. Su Fong said, You misunderstand. What I mean is that you're not qualified to be my opponent. You took the initiative to jump out now because you saw that I, Lin Zhan, was in a weakened state after 11 victories. You want to take advantage of this opportunity to take advantage of me. With such a Tao heart, even if you have some talent, your future achievements will be very limited. The Shade Rakshasa snorted at Su Fong's words. Your words are really ridiculous. Who doesn't use all means to compete on the blood slaughter arena? Are you going to obediently admit defeat, or do you want me to do it myself? Su Fong asked back, If I admit defeat, will you let me go? The Shade Rakshasa licked his lips, and a ferocious smile appeared on his handsome face. His eyes flashed with an ominous light, and he instantly turned into a man-eating beast. If you admit defeat, this king will first kill you and then devour your flesh and blood. If you refuse to admit defeat, I will keep your consciousness and devour you bite by bite. Su Fong's eyebrows twisted. The Shade Rakshasa is an evil monster. Luo Tian, kill this man-eating demon. Angry shouts sounded from below the blood slaughter arena. It turned out that the Shade Rakshasa was an evil cultivator who had a hobby of devouring human flesh. He was notorious among the cultivators of Second Star Slaughter City. In Blood Valley, killing people was commonplace. Even devouring cultivators with divine abilities to increase one's cultivation base was not uncommon. However, the Shade Rakshasa liked to use extremely cruel methods to torture people before killing them. Then, she would devour their flesh. Moreover, doing this had no benefit to his cultivation base. It was purely his hobby. According to him, he liked to listen to people's painful screams and eat human flesh. In the previous 16 battles on the blood slaughter arena, the Shade Rakshasa had shackled his opponents and then devoured them. This had long aroused the public anger of many cultivators. From the discussions of the cultivators below the blood slaughter arena, Su Fong understood what kind of person the Shade Rakshasa was and felt his scalp tingle. The Shade Rakshasa said, Luo Tian, what will you choose? This king will give you a chance. I never need others to give me a chance because my fate has always been in my own control. Su Fong revealed a domineering smile and took out a 6-vein pill and swallowed it. The blood demon pill can't save you. Hey, it's the silver vein pill. Chapter 27:19. Silver vein pill. Swoosh, swoosh. Below the blood slaughter arena, all the cultivators stood up from their thrones and craned their necks. Their gazes fell on Su Fong's hand. However, Su Fong's hand was empty. Rakshasa stared at Su Fong. The pill you just swallowed was a silver vein pill. Whoosh. There was an uproar below the arena. Silver vein pill. It's really a silver vein pill. Isn't the silver vein pill only available to Dong Xianichen and Dong Xinchan from Heaven Pavilion? How could it appear in Luo Tian's hands? It turns out that Luo Tian has a silver vein pill. No wonder he's so heaven-defying. It's his first time entering the blood slaughter arena, and he's already won more than 10 matches in a row. Many cultivators below the arena looked at Su Fong with burning eyes that were surging with endless desire and greed. If I had that silver vein pill, I would have already won 100 matches and entered the 3rd Killing Star City. Why would I need to stay here? Man Ba stared at the blood evil pill in Su Fong's hand, as if he wanted to rush directly into the blood slaughter arena. Su Fong sensed the expressions of Rakshasa and the people below the arena and couldn't help but be surprised. It seems that the blood evil pill I refined is a bit unusual. Could it be, from the expressions of the crowd, Su Fong had already vaguely guessed some clues. After swallowing the 6-vein blood evil pill, it instantly turned into a majestic blood evil chi. At the same time, it also caused the blood evil chi in his body to roar crazily. In just a few breaths, the aura of Su Fang's blood evil body quickly rose to its peak state. It was like a completely different person from before. This was the amazing thing about the 6-vein blood evil pill. Not only could it help Su Fang quickly improve his blood evil body, but could also help him recover quickly. The silver vein pill can't save you. As long as I kill you, the silver vein pill and everything you have will belong to me. Rakshas's eyes surged with endless greed. Immediately, a cold and evil murderous aura erupted from her blood evil body. Suddenly, his aura enveloped the entire space inside the blood slaughter arena. Unlike the aura of other cultivators' blood fiend dharma bodies, the aura released by the Shade Rakshasa contained a strong murderous aura, as well as an evil and cold aura. It formed a domain, and she was the absolute ruler of this domain. Woo woo woo, ghostly cries rang out from within the domain. They were mournful, eerie, and sinister. They constantly battered Su Fang's Tao heart and willpower, as if they wanted to make him fall into the underworld. Su Fang's jade-colored Tao heart trembled slightly. Multicolored light swept through his body, dissolving the strange Tao heart attack. Luo Tian, with your strength, you are qualified to make me use all my strength. No matter how strong your blood evil celestial body is, even if you have the silver vein elixir, you can't escape from the slaughter ghost realm that I cast by combining the ghost way divine sense with the blood evil celestial body. The Shade Rakshasa's gloomy voice came from all directions. Swish, swish, swish. Ghostly figures swarmed towards Su Fang from all directions. Each of these ghostly figures was refined by the Shade Rakshasa from countless cultivators' souls. Not only were there many of them, but they were also almost indestructible in the slaughter ghost realm. It was no wonder that the Shade Rakshasa was so proud. This evil cultivator is quite interesting. Su Fang raised the corner of his mouth into a sneer. His black yang dharma body could restrain evil divine sense, and the true yang vanquishing evil sword was the fatal nemesis of evil cultivators. However, he didn't intend to use his black yang dharma body. If he did, his true identity would be exposed, and it would bring him endless trouble. Besides, there was still a bloody battle to continue. Su Fang had easier ways to deal with the Shade Rakshasa, so there was no need for him to use his black yang dharma body. Whoosh, Su Fang waved his hand, and a rune floated from his right palm. Thunderclap array. Su Fang's mind moved, and the rune suddenly shattered. It wasn't an ordinary rune, but a formation rune. Crack! With a flash of lightning, it turned into a swift and violent thunderbolt, sweeping toward the surrounding ghostly figures. The ghostly figures let out terrified and mournful screams as they were turned into ashes by the lightning. A large hole was torn in the entire massacre ghost domain by the lightning. Then, the thunder turned into beams of lightning, appearing and disappearing around Su Fang, turning into a lightning formation. Formation rune? Looks like you are quite wealthy to actually possess such a lightning attribute formation talisman. My slaughtered ghost domain is cultivated from the souls of countless cultivators. Coupled with a blood fiend avatar, a mere formation talisman won't be able to save your life. The Shade Rakshasa's murderous voice sounded, and countless evil ghostly figures swept towards Su Fang. Chi! 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 Those ghostly figures turned into ashes as soon as they touched the formation. However, the power of the formation released by Su Fang's formation rune was constantly being worn down. Roar, the formation was on the verge of collapse. A ghostly figure that was 3 meters tall charged out of the slaughter ghost realm, directly attacking the formation. Lightning crackled as it bombarded the ghost's head, emitting black smoke. However, it was difficult to kill it. The formation shattered, and the ghostly head let out a sinister laugh, opening its mouth to suck at Su Fang. A soul-devouring thought attack was about to suck Su Fang's origin soul out of his body. True eye of extermination. A needle-like flame suddenly flashed out of Su Fang's eyes, landing on the ghostly head. Chi! The ghostly head immediately let out a painful scream, and the shade Rakshasa also cried out in pain. The ghostly head was formed by her thoughts. If her thoughts were injured, her body would also be injured. However, the shade Rakshasa's thoughts were incomparably sturdy. Although Su Fong's true eye of extermination had the ability to restrain her thoughts, it actually couldn't kill her. However, taking advantage of this opportunity, Su Fong swept out a dozen formation runes with a wave of his hand. After activating them, monstrous flames burst out, instantly filling the entire Slaughter Ghost realm. Unlike magical powers, the power of Su Fong's formation runes couldn't compare to some powerful magical powers, but the duration was astonishing. It was endless, like a prairie fire. The power of fire also had the ability to restrain the evil path to a certain extent. Under the continuous burning of Su Fong's formation runes, the shade Rakshasa's Slaughter Ghost realm, no matter how strong it was, couldn't withstand it. The shade Rakshasa was shocked and angry. Damn it, where did you come from? You actually have so many formation runes. A lot. Su Fong sneered domineeringly. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Another formation rune swept out, and after shattering, it exploded with astonishing power. Gale formation, quicksand formation, seven slaughter formation. Although they were all very common formations, the divine power of different formations erupted at the same time. Immediately, the shade Rakshasa's Slaughter Ghost realm was crushed layer by layer and finally collapsed with a loud bang. The shade Rakshasa's figure was revealed. At this time, she found in despair that she was trapped in layers of formations, and it was impossible for her to escape. You're a formation master. Damn it. How can you be a formation master? The shade Rakshasa was shocked and angry. She kept using all kinds of magical powers and also activated the ghastly Xian Bao, trying to break through the layers of formations. Let's end this. Su Fong waved his arm, and the layers of formations under his control turned into raging waves of formation runes, swallowing the shade Rakshasa. When everything calmed down, the shade Rakshasa didn't even have a trace left under the divine power of the formation runes. The notorious shade Rakshasa died just like that. Is all heaven really a formation master? Ordinary cultivators, even the extraordinary disciples from big forces, can't have so many formation runes on them. This person must be a formation master. This person really hid his strength well. He didn't reveal his true strength until now. Formation masters are the most difficult to deal with. Formation runes, formation plates, and formation flags are all a headache. No wonder he dared to challenge more than 10 battles in a row. It turns out that he has so many things to rely on. There's a lot of discussion under the blood slaughter arena. Man Ba frowned his brows. He was also fearful of Su Fong's talisman. The cultivators who accepted Su Fong's challenge were complaining in their hearts. When they accepted Su Fong's challenge, they saw that Su Fong was a nobody, so they thought they could pick up a big advantage and win for free. Who knew? Not only was Su Fong's strength amazing, but he also had the silver mark pill and so many formation runes. How could they fight? After Su Fong completed the blood slaughter chi, without waiting for him to speak, 3 figures jumped out from under the blood slaughter arena almost at the same time. A young cultivator was a bit faster than the other 2. As soon as he entered the outer formation of the blood slaughter arena, the other 2 cultivators were immediately pushed back by the divine power of the formation. I admit defeat. Lord Luo Tian, please be merciful. It turned out that the young cultivator rushed to the arena to take the initiative to admit defeat. Leave your blood slaughter stones and you can leave, Su Fong said indifferently. Thank you, Lord Luo Tian. The young cultivator gritted his teeth and rolled out a Xian Guang from the palm of his hand, which contained thousands of blood slaughter stones. Then, he hurriedly jumped off the blood slaughter arena. It was not until he left the blood slaughter arena that he let out a long sigh of relief. That was close. This time, it was equivalent to saving his life. Whoosh! Just as the young cultivator flew out of the blood slaughter arena, another cultivator impatiently rushed onto the blood slaughter arena. I admit defeat. This is all the blood slaughter stones I have." The cultivator was very direct. Without waiting for Su Fong to speak, he directly took out all the blood slaughter stones he had. The third cultivator did the same. After getting on the arena, he took out the blood slaughter stones very quickly and was then let go by Su Fong. In this way, Su Fong easily won 3 more battles. The results of the next 5 battles were naturally without suspense. However, a cultivator from the Great Sun Limitless Path didn't believe it and confronted Su Fong. As a result, Su Fong shot out more than 30 formation talismans in one breath. The formation talismans, which seemed to be very valuable, were like free leaves in his hands. QL11, the Great Sun Limitless Path cultivator, was stunned on the spot. Before he fell into the divine power of the formation, he immediately begged for mercy and handed over all the blood slaughter stones he had. In this way, Su Fong entered the blood slaughter arena for the first time and won 20 battles in a row. The blood slaughter arena fell into a huge uproar. Such an amazing record had never been seen in the history of the second Slaughter Star City. Chapter 2720. From a blood-red star in the sky, a bloody light shrouded Su Fong. The pure and high-grade blood aura once again cleansed Su Fong's blood demon avatar. Chi. Another slaughter mark emerged from the slaughter star pattern on Su Fong's blood armor. The 12th slaughter mark. QL11 Su Fong felt that his blood demon avatar had become stronger, and he was very happy. The shock caused by winning 20 matches in a row will definitely not be small, especially after killing Chu Feng. The 3 Supreme Profound Sects will definitely not let this go. I better leave the blood slaughter arena as soon as possible. Su Fong jumped down from the blood slaughter arena. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Gazes filled with awe and shock focused on Su Fong. The cultivators sitting in the front row of the blood slaughter arena were the top 10 true experts in the second Killing Star City. They all looked at Su Fong with goodwill in their eyes. Su Fong walked towards the profound gate in the blood slaughter arena. Man Ba's domineering voice sounded, "Boy, hand over your silver-striped blood demon pill, and I will not care about your previous rudeness." "You want my blood demon pill?" Su Fong snorted disdainfully and couldn't be bothered to pay attention to Man Ba as he walked towards the profound gate. Man Ba was furious. "Boy, you dare to ignore me?" Su Fong inexplicably snorted. "Who do you think you are? What qualifications do you have to make me pay attention to you? You've only been in the second Killing Star City for a few years and 1 more matches. Do you really think you're a big shot? If I have the chance to meet you in the future, I will definitely suppress you." Man Ba gnashed his teeth. "Boy, you're crazy enough. You better not be caught by me in the second Killing Star City. At that time, I will pull out your tendons and skin you alive." Su Fong casually smiled and stepped into the profound gate. Space distorted and divine power enveloped Su Fong. Just as he was about to be sent out of the blood slaughter arena, an ethereal thought quietly fell on Su Fong's blood demon avatar along with the formation's divine power. If not for the heavenly secret life shrinking technique, it would have been very difficult for Su Fong to discover the imprint formed by his thoughts. Who is this person? He actually planted an imprint on my body. A fierce aura surged in Su Fong's heart as he was immediately sent out of the blood slaughter arena by the profound gate. City Lord's mansion. Deep in a palace, Dong Chen and Dong Chan had been paying attention to the battle situation on the blood slaughter arena through the rune talisman. 20 consecutive victories. Crazy. That Luo Tian is really crazy. Even I have to admire him. If I have the chance to fight with him, my training in the Blood Valley will not be in vain. Dong Chen praised repeatedly, his eyes flashing with a burning desire to fight. Dong Chan reminded, "Senior brother, that person also has the silver vein pill." Dong Chen nodded. "That's right. Let's try to find all heaven. We might be able to find the cultivator selling the silver patterned blood demon pill." Not only Dong Chen and Dong Chan, but the city lord and Dong Jun were also paying attention to the battle situation on the blood slaughter arena from time to time. Dong Jun said with a smile, 20 consecutive victories. This person is barely qualified to be my opponent. It seems that the training in the second Star Slaughter City is no longer so boring. The city lord chuckled. As long as young Master Dong Xinjun is willing, it won't be difficult for you to win 50 consecutive battles when you first enter the blood slaughter arena. That Luo Tian is just playing to the gallery. He only dares to be so unscrupulous with the help of the silver-patterned blood demon pill and the rune talisman. He's barely qualified to fight young Master Dong Xinjun said. However, this person actually has the silver-patterned blood demon pill. This seat is quite interested. I'll have to trouble the city lord to help this seat find the cultivator who refined the silver-patterned blood demon pill. The city lord readily agreed. Rest assured, young Master Jun. This seat has already arranged for someone to leave an imprint on Luo Tian's body. As long as we find out his true identity, we can naturally find the alchemist who refined the silver-patterned blood demon pill from him. Su Fong used the spatial transmission of the profound gate and directly returned to the pavilion he lived in from the blood slaughter arena. As soon as he walked out of the array, Su Fong immediately used the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique to erase the thought imprint on his body. Although the thought imprint was very secretive, it was not very powerful. Besides, Su Fong used the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique to erase the imprint was very easy. Sitting cross-legged in the pavilion, Yang Kai swallowed blood demon pills and recovered for more than 10 days. *1, a rune talisman in his body moved. With a flip of his palm, he grabbed the rune talisman and Qingshuan's voice came out from it. Young Master Su Fong, you've returned from the blood slaughter arena? Su Fong said lightly. What? Do you think I'll die in the blood slaughter arena? I wouldn't dare. With young Master Su Fong's strength, how could something happen to you even though it's your first time entering the blood slaughter arena? I heard that there was a master named Luo Tian who entered the blood slaughter arena for the first time and won 20 matches in a row, so I was a bit worried about young Master Su Fong. I didn't fight with Luo Tian. Su Fong faintly smiled. Obviously, Qing Xian had her suspicions, but didn't dare to be certain. Then I can rest assured. How many matches did young Master win this time? Let's not talk about that. Qing Xian, help me go to the Chamber of Commerce and Black Market of the Second Star Slaughter City and inquire if they have these spirit objects. It turned out that Su Fong planned to look for spirit objects that could nurture a heavenly Tao core in the Second Star Slaughter City. The Chamber of Commerce and Black Market of the Second Star Slaughter City had many treasures that were difficult to find in the outside world. The reason was very simple. In the various profound worlds, as long as a treasure appeared, it would immediately be snatched up by various forces. But Star Slaughter City was different. In order to obtain blood demon stones, some cultivators had no choice but to take out their treasures. After accumulating them over the years, the Chamber of Commerce and Black Market would have a lot of them. Moreover, in Star Slaughter City, blood demon stones were used as currency. Ordinary cultivators naturally wouldn't be willing to take out blood demon stones to buy treasures that were temporarily useless. Su Fong now understood the value of the silver-patterned blood demon pills he refined. As long as he took them out and sold them, a large amount of blood demon stones would continuously flow into his hands. At this time, he no longer needed to worry about blood demon stones. Su Fong passed the information about the spirit objects he was still missing to Qing Xian through a rune talisman and had her go to Star Slaughter City to inquire about them. Then Su Fong entered secluded cultivation, mainly to digest the harvest he had obtained from the blood slaughter arena. Su Fong could use the blood demon dharma body of the cultivators he had killed on the blood slaughter arena to cultivate. The various treasures and resources on their bodies were also taken out by Su Fong and distributed to the experts under him. The experts who had been subdued in the Jiushuan God realm were naturally wild with joy after obtaining a large amount of resources. Especially the number one expert under Su Fong, Xin Tianqing. Not only did he obtain a large amount of pills, but Su Fong also directly rewarded him with a top-grade flying sword he had obtained from Chu Feng's storage ring. The top-grade Xian Bao was very rare in the Jiushuan God realm. For a Dao master expert like Xin Tianqing, it was incomparably precious. He was naturally overjoyed and was full of gratitude to Su Fong. About 100 years later, the blood demon Dharma bodies of the cultivators killed by Su Fong on the blood slaughter arena were all devoured by Su Fong. At this time, the number of star slaughter patterns on Su Fong's blood armor had increased to 15. On this day, Qing Xian transmitted her voice to Su Fong through a rune talisman. Young Master Su Fong, I've searched all the chambers of commerce and black markets in the second star slaughter city for the spirit objects you asked about. I found a total of 3 types. So many? Su Fong was pleasantly surprised. The spirit objects needed to nurture the heavenly Tao core were very difficult to find. He didn't expect to find 3 at once in the second star slaughter city. How could Su Fong not be pleasantly surprised? Qing Xian continued. However, these spirit objects are incomparably expensive. The total price of the 3 spirit objects is as high as 300,000 blood demon stones. Su Fong was shocked. How can it be so expensive? Qing Xian said, the chambers of commerce and black markets buy them at a low price and then sell them at high price. These spirit objects are very rare in the outside world. Naturally, they'll demand an exorbitant price. Su Fong originally had a lot of blood demon stones on him. This time, he had plundered a lot of them on the blood slaughter arena. In total, he had about 50,000 blood demon stones. He originally thought that with so many blood demon stones, he could be considered a nouveau riche. He didn't expect that it wouldn't even be enough to buy 3 spirit objects. I have to get the spirit objects needed to nurture the heavenly Tao core no matter what. But where can I get so many blood demon stones at once? It seems that I can only earn blood demon stones by refining blood demon pills. I don't know how many pills I'll have to refine to gather so many blood demon stones. After pondering for a moment, Su Fong had Qing Xian purchase a large amount of ingredients to refine blood demon pills and then began to frantically refine them. When he came out of seclusion again, it was already 3,000 years later. In the pavilion, Su Fong passed through the array. His entire body was covered in the rich smell of medicinal ingredients, as if he had just come out of a medicinal pot. Blood demon qi surged out of his body and swept away the medicinal smell. Then, Su Fong went straight to the black market. He entered the black market's inner space. When he passed by a stall, Su Fong saw a scroll formed by an array floating above the stall. When he saw the divine runes on the scroll, he couldn't help but laugh. It turned out that it was a bounty. The content was to find Luo Tian. As long as he could provide Luo Tian's true identity, he would be able to obtain 10,000 blood demon stones. I don't know if it's the 3 supreme profound sects or that man Ba. They actually used this method to find me. They would never think that even if I appeared in front of them, they would never think that I am Luo Tian. Su Fong sneered in his heart. Then he rented a stall in the black market. With a wave of his hand, he took out hundreds of pills and covered them with xianguang. They floated above the stall. These pills were the silver-patterned blood demon pills that he had personally refined. However, they were all 3-pattern pills. He was planning to use the 3-pattern pills to test the waters. He wanted to see what kind of price the silver-pattern pills that were sought after by so many cultivators could sell for. Then, he would sell all the blood demon pills below the 6-pattern pill. It's you, a familiar voice sounded. Looking over, it was the girl who had bought the blood demon pills before. Seeing this girl, Su Fong's heart thumped. He knew that this was bad. Chapter 27-21. Before Su Fong could speak, the girl saw the elixirs floating above Su Fong's stall and exclaimed, "Silver vein elixir! You are the alchemist who refined the silver vein elixir. How many silver vein elixirs do you have? Give them all to me." Su Fong looked at the girl as if she was a thief. His eyes revealed an ominous glint. "Give them all to you? You took so many of my elixirs last time, but you only gave me 10,000 blood evil stones. You made me suffer a great loss. Now, don't even think about taking a single elixir from me." The girl blushed and said, "I was rash last time. I will definitely compensate you for the elixirs I lack. This time, I'll buy all the blood evil pills you have at your price. I guarantee you that I will not miss a single blood evil stone." Silver vein elixir. It's actually the legendary silver vein elixir. Just as Su Fong and the girl were talking, Some cultivators who passed by Su Fang's stall noticed Su Fang's silver vein elixir and exclaimed in surprise. Whoosh! A cultivator rushed to the stall recklessly and reached out to grab the silver vein elixir in the Xinguo. It's really the silver vein blood evil elixir. It's mine. Who dares to snatch it from me? Boom! A burly man activated a murderous aura and swept toward the cultivator who was about to snatch the silver vein elixir. That cultivator was caught off guard. He screamed and was sent flying, spitting out blood from his mouth. Su Fang was surprised and delighted when he saw these cultivators rushing over like ducks. I have a lot of blood evil elixirs. If you want to buy them one by one, take out the blood evil stones first. 100 get lost. The burly man was so anxious that his eyes turned red. Seeing that Su Fang was only at the Dao True realm, he ignored him and grabbed the elixir in the air. Su Fang's elixir is not so easy to snatch. Su Fang's heart surged with a fierce aura. Boom! A burst of divine might suddenly swept out from the side, causing the burly man to retreat repeatedly. Su Fang focused his gaze. It was the young woman who had attacked. He never would have guessed that this seemingly weak, bashful young woman would be so extraordinarily powerful. With a wave of her hand, she was able to knock back that middle-level Dao Lord. The burly man laughed ferociously at Dong Xianchan and said, Girl, how dare you stop me? See how I'm going to kill you. Swish, swish. Before the burly man could finish his words, a figure suddenly flashed in front of him, and a palm print condensed from a murderous aura swiftly and violently slammed down with a bang. The large man let out a blood-curdling scream as his blood-red armor shattered. His Dao heart was also heavily injured by the murderous aura, causing him to be sent flying. Brat, how dare you sneak attack me and destroy my Dharma body and Dao heart? Do you know who I am? The burly man roared madly. Huel, 11, the young cultivator, said, I'm Dong Xianichen from Dongxian Heaven Pavilion. The burly man's arrogance instantly stopped. Hearing that the silver vein pill had appeared, the other cultivators who had the same thoughts as the burly man immediately stopped and looked at the young cultivator with reverence in their eyes. Not to mention anything else. Just his identity as a disciple of Dongxian Heaven Pavilion and Daozu's disciple was enough to make any faction respect him. Dong Xianichen cupped his fists at Su Fang and said, I'm Dong Xianichen. May I know your name? Su Fang cupped his fists and said, Su Fang. Xiaochan was ignorant and took too many of Brother Su Fang's pills. I'll definitely compensate you according to the price. May I know how many blood evil stones I have to give you for those blood evil pills? Dong Xianichen revealed a guilty expression. Dong Xianchan's face instantly flushed red. Su Fang's spirits were lifted. He could finally get back his previous losses. It seemed that the warm-hearted girl wasn't an unlucky star. The genius from Dongxian Heaven Pavilion wasn't as overbearing as Dongxian Zheng and Dongxian Rong. It's not expensive, not expensive. Those blood evil pills and 3-vein pills that little sister took before, I'll give them to you. As for those 6-vein pills, I'll sell them at half price. It's 200 blood evil stones for 1 pill, so there's a total of 500 pills. Huh, Su Fang said with a smile. Dong Xianchan's mouth opened wide. Dong Xianchan's face instantly turned pale. 506-vein blood evil pills were equivalent to 100,000 blood evil stones. Although he came from Dongxian Heaven Pavilion, he couldn't take out so many blood evil stones at once. And it was still at half price. Dong Xianchan looked at Su Fang and thought, black-hearted, this is too black-hearted. Su Fang's impression of Dong Xianchan also changed greatly. How was this a pitiful person? He was clearly a black-hearted businessman. Dong Xianchan smiled awkwardly. Brother Su Fang, this seat can't take out so many blood evil stones at once. I can only owe you first. Do you still have those 6-vein blood evil pills? This seat will give you another 100 on credit. At this moment, many cultivators had gathered around. Originally, some of them were still doubting the authenticity of Su Fang's silver vein blood evil pills. But now, after hearing the conversation between Dong Xianichen and Su Fang, they were convinced beyond a doubt. Immediately, a cultivator shouted, This seat wants 100 of your 6-vein blood evil pills. I won't give you a single blood evil stone less. Su Fong said, I'll sell the blood evil pills to young Master Dong Shinichen at half price. Everyone else must pay the full price. 400 blood evil stones for one 6-vein blood evil pill. That's a total of 40,000 blood evil stones. Hand it over. 40,000 blood evil stones. That cultivator hesitated for a moment. 40,000 blood evil stones wasn't a small amount. Ordinary cultivators couldn't take it out at all. In the end, that cultivator gritted his teeth and took out all his wealth. A total of 20,000 blood evil stones to buy 56-vein blood evil pills. The other cultivators no longer hesitated and rushed to take out their blood evil stones to buy Su Fong's blood evil pills. There weren't many who were truly rich. Most of them bought 10 or even a few pills. However, there were a lot of people. In less than half an hour, more than 2,000 3-vein pills were sold. More than 500 4-vein pills, 5-vein pills, and 6-vein pills were sold. Su Fong's storage ring was already filled with blood evil stones. There were almost 400,000 of them. Some cultivators couldn't take out the blood evil stones and exchange them with spiritual items or other treasures. Su Fong didn't refuse anyone. Even Su Fong himself didn't expect that the blood evil pills he refined would be so profitable. Previously, he was still worried about the 300,000 blood evil stones needed to buy the spiritual items to nurture the pregnant heavenly Tao core. Now, he had gathered all of them and had more than enough. Su Fong couldn't stop smiling. Dong Shinichen and Dong Xinchan were dumbfounded. They couldn't say anything about paying on credit anymore. Little Chan, let's go. Dong Shinichen felt bored and was about to leave with Dong Xinchan. Su Fong suddenly sent a message with his soul. Brother Ichin, I have a lot of silver-vein blood evil pills. Besides 6-vein pills, I have many 7-vein pills and even 9-vein pills. Dong Shinichen was overjoyed. He immediately shook his head and replied, I can't afford your blood evil pills. Su Fong waved his hand and a storage ring flew to Dong Shinichen. I refined these pills myself. Why would I ask Brother Ichin for such a high price? I was just borrowing Brother Ichin's fame to sell them at such a high price. I should be thanking Brother Ichin. Take these blood evil pills as a token of my gratitude. Dong Shinichen sent his consciousness into the storage ring. He saw that the space inside was filled with a shocking blood evil aura. There weren't many pills, only about 100 of them. However, there were 10 9-vein blood evil pills. The aura they emitted was purer and more majestic than the aura of all the other pills combined. Dong Shinichen was surprised and happy. At the same time, he was shocked by Su Fong's generosity. More and more cultivators rushed to the black market after hearing the news. In the end, the higher-ups of the black market were alerted. A thought appeared in the air and turned into the figure of a majestic and domineering middle-aged man. A terrifying pressure instantly enveloped the entire black market. Everyone trembled. The middle-aged man looked at Su Fong and said majestically, How many of these blood evil pills do you have? Take them all out. The 3 highest mysterious sects will take them all. However, your price is too high. I can only give you half the price at most. This majestic man was the expert of the 3 highest mysterious sects in charge of the second killer city. Although he was restricted by the Blood Valley, and his cultivation was only at the level of a Tao Lord, his true strength definitely surpassed that of a Tao Lord. Su Fong sneered in his heart. The 3 highest mysterious sects are indeed domineering. Suddenly, another thought leaped out and turned into the figure of a refined young man. This person looked young, but he was actually filled with the vicissitudes of life. There was also an aura that Su Fong was extremely familiar with. It was the expert of the Great Sun Limitless Path that had helped Su Fong in the past. The refined middle-aged man nodded at Su Fong and said with a smile, Little friend Su Fong, the Great Sun Limitless Path also wants all of your pills. As for the price, we can discuss it. Moreover, I represent the Great Sun Limitless Path to extend an invitation to you. As long as you are willing to join the Great Sun Limitless Path, I promise that at the very least, I will nominate you as a special disciple. The expert of the three highest mysterious sects raised his sword-like eyebrows and looked at the refined middle-aged man. Sir, don't you think you are going a little too far? The refined middle-aged man smiled and said, The right to choose is Su Fong. Why not let him choose for himself? The expert of the three highest mysterious sects sneered. A mere downward cultivator doesn't have the right to make the decision. If I don't get those silver-patterned blood demon pills today, he could forget about leaving this place today. Su Fong coldly said, The blood demon pills in my hands can be sold to whomever I want. Who dares to force me? The expert of the three highest mysterious sects said domineeringly, I can kill you like crushing an ant. Let's see who can stop me. At this moment, Ancestor Luo walked out from the crowd and sent a thought to Su Fong. Kid, these silver-patterned blood demon pills were all refined by you personally? Su Fong replied, That's right. I didn't expect you to have such amazing alchemy skills. Ancestor Luo's eyes flashed with a complicated look. When he met Su Fong again in the second Killer Star City, Ancestor Luo was high and mighty. He didn't expect that Su Fong would suddenly change and become a powerful alchemist. At this moment, in the eyes of the refined middle-aged man, Su Fong's position had definitely far surpassed his. Ancestor Luo naturally had mixed feelings.